Chapter 370. The herb applied on his abdomen was called paradise leaf, which was worth 100 million Shin crystals. Of course, this was the market price. The Liu family had this herb in their farm, so it was not a big deal for the Liu family. The paradise leaf had strong vitality. It could prolong a person's life by dozens of years after he consumed it. Liu Li's wound started to heal quickly when he put it on. At the same time, Liu Li also took some pellets of different colors and some mystical grasses. He just swallowed them all. Liu Li didn't mind his abdomen or the pellets he consumed. He started to mobilize his Xian energy in a special way. At the Xianwu realm, Xian energy was in a gaseous state, and at the Spirit Sea realm, it was in a liquid state. Now, to make a fate wheel, it had to be in a solid state, another qualitative leap. The pellets and mystical materials in his body started to take effect. They helped Liu Li's Xian energy solidify and solidify. Of course, it would take time. It had to solidify bit by bit, not in one go. Last time, it took Hunchback Tian 3 days to make a fate wheel. The secret method that the Liu family got was more complicated. It would take at least 5 days. This was no different from making pellets. Liu Li's body was a furnace. He had to take pellets and mystical grasses continuously to make a fate wheel bit by bit. There were at least 30 kinds of pellets and mystical grasses around Liu Li. When Hunchback Tian made a fate wheel, he only used more than a dozen. It could be inferred that the fate wheel made by disciples of the Liu family must be much more powerful than regular ones. Of course, the increase in lifespan was about the same. It all depended on the hardness. Before reaching the Noble Lord realm, the fate wheel was a good means of attack. If the fate wheel was hard enough, its power could be increased and it wouldn't be destroyed so easily. To reach the Noble Lord realm, 9 fate wheels were needed. Now that the fate wheel was strong, the beat of life would be stronger as well. This was one of the resources of a big family. At the same realm, disciples of big families would be more powerful than regular warriors. That was why many warriors in the world wanted to join big families and forces. After joining a big family, warriors could not only get many precious mystical materials, but also the secret skills of the big families. Time moved on. Liu Li took all the pellets and mystical materials. In his Spirit Sea, a small fate wheel was taking shape. 3 days later, Liu Li had taken all the pellets and mystical materials except the Heaven Serpent fruit. After another 6 hours, he finally opened his eyes and fell to the ground. The injury on his lower abdomen was healed. A small fate wheel had formed in his Spirit Sea. The second step of creating a fate wheel was completed. Having not slept for several days, Liu Li was so exhausted that he couldn't even keep his eyes open. However, he did not fall asleep immediately. Instead, he only rested for an hour before getting up again to carry out the last step. Compatibility. He had to make the life wheel fit with his body and become a part of his body. Only then could he succeed. He swallowed the Heaven Serpent fruit and controlled the life wheel in the spirit ocean to spin slowly. He let the life force in the life wheel spread throughout his body, improving his bodily functions and merging with his body. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the power of the acquired serpent fruit spread into the fate wheel. Then, it turned into invisible energy and spread out from the fate wheel. It was as if thousands of threads were flowing into his body, completely integrating his life wheel with his body. All right, I finally succeeded. Liu Li was relieved. He didn't care about anything else and fell asleep on the ground. Buzz! About an hour after he fell asleep, something strange happened. The silver dragon mark on his back suddenly glowed. The silver dragon wandered around and then disappeared completely. There was no mark on Liu Li's back anymore. Liu Li slept for a day and a night. He opened his eyes in satisfaction and stretched. Soon, there came a sound of goo-goo from his stomach. He didn't eat anything these days and only drank some water. However, he didn't feel weak at all. Instead, he felt he was full of vigor. He looked younger, and his muscles were full of strength. Fate wheel. Liu Li woke up. He sat with his legs crossed at once and looked inside himself. After making sure that there was a small fate wheel spinning slowly in his Spirit Sea, he grinned. Fate wheel realm. Finally, he had changed his fate. He had successfully embarked on the path of a powerful warrior and opened the door to a new world. This was a realm that the Liu family patriarch had wanted to reach all his life, but could not. Let's go out and have a try. Luli stood up in excitement. The space here was too small for him to release his fate wheel. He walked out in strides. He didn't see Liu Feishu outside, but he didn't care. He walked directly into the yard. There were several maids and servants in the yard. They were startled to see a man in a ragged robe, dark and smelly. Luli didn't mind them. He shouted, "Fate wheel, come out!" Buzzing, Li's abdomen glowed. Then a small fate wheel appeared and enlarged. Eventually, it became a fate wheel with a diameter of more than 3 feet. Usually, a fate wheel was only about 6 feet in diameter. Li's was clearly bigger. That being said, Luli wasn't surprised that the Liu family's secret method was different from others. Luli didn't find it strange, but he was frowning in astonishment. Other people's fate wheels were glowing in 7 colors. How come his was silver? Something is wrong. Luli glanced over and shouted, "You Hua and Mingyu, come out and have a look." 2 silhouettes flew out from the 2 rooms. Their eyes lit up when they saw the fate wheel floating in the yard. They shouted, "Congratulations, young master." Luli didn't show much joy. He pointed to the fate wheel and said, "Look at my fate wheel. If there was something wrong with the fate wheel, then it would have to be destroyed and rebuilt." The Liu family was rich, but Luli himself was going to be weakened, which might affect his future cultivation. Of course, Luli would take it seriously. Mingyu and Yu Huashin took a few glances and said in surprise. Then they used their psychic power to check. Yu Huashin was shocked, but he didn't say anything. He just winked at Luli. Luli asked the maids and servants to leave. Yu Huashin walked over and said in a low voice, "Young master, there is a silver dragon mark on your fate wheel." What? Luli couldn't see up. He flew up at once and stood on the fate wheel. He opened his eyes wide and looked up with a strange expression on his face. Usually, there would be nothing on the fate wheel, just a 7-color disc. But there was a clear mark on Li's fate wheel. It was a vivid silver dragon, the same as the one in his soul pond on his back. No wonder it is glowing silver, Luli understood now. There is a silver dragon on the fate wheel, which was why the fate wheel was glowing silver instead of 7-colored. Is this a blessing or a curse? Luli frowned. He had a headache. There was a silver dragon on his back, on his soul pond, and now on his fate wheel. Chapter 371. Luli tried to make sure that there was nothing wrong with the fate wheel. He even controlled the fate wheel to fly around the yard. Apart from the silver dragon on the fate wheel, there was nothing else special about it. Flying was not allowed on the Mystic Armor Mountain. Luli had broken the family rule last time. He wouldn't break it again in case Liu Zhongdan would have something on him. Luli didn't care about himself, but he was afraid that Liu Feishu would be implicated. I will think about it later. Go take a shower first. Smelling the stench on himself, Luli shook his head. He flew the fate wheel down and put it back into his spirit sea. The fate wheel was a miraculous thing. One of the mystical materials in it contained a miraculous ability that could make the fate wheel expand or shrink as he wished. Of course, it had to be accompanied by a secret skill, which was included in the secret skill given to him by the Liu family. I'll go take a shower now. We will talk later. Luli waved his hand to Yu Huashin and Mingyu and went into the inner hall. There was a maid waiting for him. Luli casually asked, "Where's my aunt?" "Madam left early in the morning. She said she would be back later." The maid answered with respect. Luli nodded and went into the bathroom to take a shower. He took out some clean clothes and was about to put them on. He walked past the bronze mirror on the wall and suddenly noticed something was wrong. When Jiang Yi turned around to take a look, his eyes shrank. That was because the silver dragon mark on his back had actually disappeared. What is going on? Luli was frightened. The silver dragon mark was his bloodline mark. How come it was gone? And could he still use his 3 bloodline skills? Blood Claw was his most powerful skill. Blood Claw, he shouted, but there was no reaction from his back. However, scales appeared on his right hand, and his 10 fingers grew longer. His nails had hooks, and a beautiful bee's claw appeared. Good, good. Luli was relieved. His bloodline skills were still there. He thought about it for a while and had an idea. He sat with his legs crossed and looked at the fate wheel. As he had expected, the dragon pattern on the fate wheel shone brightly and moved quickly on the fate wheel. What? Luli was confused. How could the silver dragon mark on his back go to the fate wheel? Bloodline marks could be transferred. Or perhaps this wasn't a bloodline imprint at all? There were so many questions and so many strange things that Luli felt like his head was going to explode. Unfortunately, he couldn't ask anyone about this, and he couldn't figure it out himself. He changed the blood claw back and checked his life wheel. He found that the silver dragon mark on the life wheel had stopped moving. The bloodline mark can move on its own. Could it be that this dragon is alive? An idea came to Luli's mind. He felt a chill down his spine. If there was a dragon hiding in his body, it would not be a good thing. It was even possible that the dragon was transformed from a demon. Should I ask the Grand Elder? Out of instinct, Luli wanted to ask for help, but he was afraid. What if the Great Patriarch was on Lu Zhongtan's side? He would immediately be identified as a demon and might even be killed on the spot. I can only ask Grandpa or Father. After much consideration, Luli decided not to take the risk. He checked himself over and over again to see if he could find anything. The fate wheel was still the fate wheel, and the silver dragon mark was still the silver dragon mark. Apart from the change of location, there was nothing wrong with his body. Young master, Luli stayed in the bathroom for 2 hours. Yu Huashan's voice woke Luli up. He put on his robe, walked out with a frown, and asked, "What is it?" Yu Huashan reported, "Patriarch 8 wants you to go there." He said, "There is news about your sister." Sister? Luli's eyes glowed. He became extremely excited. All he could think about was Lu Ling. He forgot about the strange things that were happening to his body at the back of his mind. "I need to go now." With these words, he rushed out like a gust of wind. When he arrived at the Hall of Patriarchs, he was so impatient that he rushed in without waiting for the escorts to report. Luckily, the escorts all knew that Patriarch 8 wanted to summon Luli. Otherwise, they would have thought that Luli was going to make trouble again. Whoosh! Luli rushed into the Hall of Patriarchs. Seeing Patriarch 4 and Patriarch 8, Luli asked with excitement, "What is it? Have you saved my sister, and are you coming back soon?" Patriarch 4 and Patriarch 8 didn't answer. Their eyes were filled with worry. Luli's heart skipped a beat. Was something wrong? Luli, Patriarch 8 sighed and said, "We just got the news from the Palace of Blue Lions. They have arrived at the Palace of Goddess and met the master of the Palace of Goddess. They found Ghost Snake Granny, but what?" Luli was getting anxious. He shouted, "Tell me now." Patriarch 8 paused for a bit and said, "I didn't find your sister." "Impossible." Luli denied at once. "My sister was taken away by Ghost Snake Granny. The Palace of Goddess must have lied. Let me finish first." Patriarch 8 waved his hand and said, "It's not that Ghost Snake Granny denied taking your sister away. Ghost Snake Granny admitted that she took your sister back to the Palace of Goddess because she saw that she was of Fire Phoenix birth. But when they were on their way to the Cyan Plains from the northern desert, they were suddenly attacked by strange, powerful warriors. Your sister went missing." "Impossible." Luli still shook his head with certainty. Then he was filled with killing intent. He thought about it and said, "This must be an excuse made up by the Palace of Goddess." The good-for-nothings of the Palace of Blue Lions were fooled. "No, I have to go to the Palace of Goddess in person and ask our family to send me some powerful warriors. I want to kill every single one of them." "Calm down. This is not an excuse. It is the truth." Patriarch 8 pressed his lips and said, "A human sovereign realm warrior went to the Palace of Blue Lions, and he knows soul-searching skill. That human sovereign realm warrior has searched Ghost Snake Granny's soul and everyone else that went to the northern desert with her. This is the truth." Boom! Luli felt as if there was a clap of thunder in the sky. He trembled and almost fell to the ground. Lu Ling was missing? Or dead? There was a huge ocean between the northern desert and the Cyan Plains. Lu Ling had no abilities to fight. How could she have survived if she went missing in the ocean? Dead? My sister is dead? Luli murmured in a daze. His face was as pale as snow. Patriarch 8 quickly said, "Not dead, not dead. Luli, what are you thinking about? Ghost Snake Granny secretly placed a ghost snake on your sister. She speculated that your sister was taken away by that unknown powerful warrior because the ghost snake had been flying to the west. Unknown powerful warrior." Hope rose in Luli's eyes. As long as she was still alive, he could find her. It was possible that the unknown powerful warrior had found out that his sister was of Fire Phoenix birth, so he had taken Luling away, just like Ghost Snake Granny did. Luli was panicking. He looked at Patriarch 8 and asked, "What should we do now?" Patriarch 4 answered, "The Palace of Blue Lions is looking around for information. When Ghost Snake Granny was attacked, she found that the powerful warrior had a unique, profound meaning, the 7th rank Holy Light. We have sent someone to investigate. There are not many powerful warriors that have Holy Light, profound meaning. There are not many powerful warriors that can learn a 7th rank, profound meaning in the world. We will find this person based on the clues." Patriarch 8 nodded and said, "Luli, don't worry. As long as we can find this person, no matter who he is, we can save your sister." Sister. Chapter 372. Luli felt terrible that Lu Ling was missing. We got back to the Rising Dragon Pavilion. He seemed to have lost his soul. He looked awful. Lu Ling had no ability to fight. She was just a little girl, and she was taken away twice. The Fire Phoenix birth saved her life, but harmed her twice. There were some miraculous births in the world, but the Fire Phoenix birth was rare. It was normal that powerful warriors would pay attention to her. After all, with proper training, a Fire Phoenix birth could become a powerful warrior in the future. Luli wondered what kind of suffering Lu Ling would go through when she was taken away by a strange, powerful warrior all by herself. Luli felt his mind was going to explode. If it were not for the fact that he didn't know who that mysterious, powerful warrior was, he would have gone to him directly. 7th rank, profound meaning. Holy Light, profound meaning. Li's eyes glowed. His father seemed to have only learned a 6th rank, profound meaning. There shouldn't be many in the world that could learn a 7th rank, profound meaning. Lu family should be able to find out. Back at the Rising Dragon Pavilion, Li didn't say anything to Yu Huaxin or Mingyu. He locked himself in his room and sat there for the entire afternoon. He finally came back to his senses at dusk. There was nothing he could do or help Lu Ling now. He had to wait for the Lu family to find out more about this mysterious, powerful warrior. Phew. Luli felt bored after sitting in his room for an entire afternoon. He walked out. Yu Huaxin and Mingyu had been waiting outside. When Luli came out, Mingyu asked with concern, "Young master, what happened?" "Nothing. My sister was taken away by a mysterious, powerful warrior, and the Lu family is looking into it," Luli explained casually. Mingyu and Yu Huaxin could only comfort him since Luli didn't want to say more. There was nothing they could do. Luli looked at the sky and suddenly felt someone was missing in the room. He frowned and asked the maid, "My aunt is not back yet?" "No." The maid shook her head. Li's frown deepened. Lu Feishua never went out. Why did she go out all of a sudden today and not come back yet? Luli thought about it and walked out. He said to the escorts outside, "My aunt is not back yet. Send someone to look for her. Go to the Mystic Armor City and have a look." Before Lu Feishua left, she said that she would be back soon. It was getting dark now. Even if she went to her friend's place, she should be back already. The 6 escorts looked at Li anxiously. The city of Mystic Armor was a large place with many yards. Lu Feishua didn't even tell them where she was. How were they going to find her? Seeing that Li was not in a good mood, an elder asked the 5 of them to go and search on their own. The 2 of them wandered around the Mystic Armor Mountain, and the 3 of them went to the Mystic Armor City. Whether or not they could find it was one thing, but they had to put on a show. Luli was not worried. After all, the city of Mystic Armor had been sealed off. At most, Lu Feishua would be in the city. Everyone in the Mystic Armor City knew Lu Feishua. Who would dare to touch her? Luli went back to the hall. He was not in the mood to eat. He just sat there and waited for Lu Feishua to come back. Yu Huaxin and Mingyu could tell that Luli was in a bad mood, so they just ate some. They didn't want to go back to cultivate, so they stayed here to keep Luli company. As time went on, Luli's expression became more and more awful. 2 hours later, there was still no news, and Lu Feishue was nowhere to be found. Luli could not sit still anymore. After some thoughts, Luli walked out with Mingyu and Yu Huashan. He looked at the only escort standing outside and said, "Which way did you see my aunt going out?" "The south." The escort thought about it and said, "The south is the way down the mountain. I think, Madam, Lu must have gone to the city. Let's go and have a look." Luli decided to go out and have a look. He couldn't go to the patriarchs for this. He waved his hand to the escort and said, "Take us down the mountain and have a look in the city." The Lu family didn't forbid Lu Li from going to the mystic armor city. The escort had no choice but to lead the way. They walked all the way to the south. After the time for 3 incense sticks to burn, they finally found a meandering road down the mountain. The mystic armor mountain was in the shape of a tower, with people living on each floor. There were warriors patrolling on the road from time to time. Not everyone could go up the mountain. The people on the mountain could go down easily. With the escort and Lu Li's fame, who dared to stop him? Lu Li was getting impatient, so he sped up. In the time for several incense sticks to burn, the 4 of them had reached the bottom of the mystic armor mountain. The mystic armor city was at the bottom of the mystic armor mountain. However, Lu Li was dumbfounded when he entered the streets of the city. The city was too big. There were streets and alleys everywhere. The buildings were neatly built, and there were many yards and buildings. Where could they find someone? After some thoughts, Lu Li asked, "Who is in charge of the warriors at the mystic armor city? Take me to him." Patrolling warriors could be seen in the city. There must be at least tens of thousands of warriors in the mystic armor city. It would be easy to find the commander or patriarch in charge of the army. Lu Li, Ming Yu, and Ming, you wouldn't be able to find anyone. It's Patriarch Phone. The escort knew this well. He took Lu Li to the south of the city. Patriarch Phone was the patriarch of the external clan, responsible for the city's internal defense and order management. The mystic armor city was lively. Even at night, there was still a lot of traffic. Lu Li and the others didn't have carriages, only iron-armored ships and ancient chariots. Flying was not allowed in the city, so they had to walk. An hour later, a guard came running to them. Ming Yu and Yu Huashan looked at him and shouted, "He is from outside our yard." Lu Li looked over. The escort also saw Lu Li and the others. He rushed over like a gust of wind. He looked awful, and his eyes were filled with shock. Lu Li sensed something was wrong. He shouted from the distance, "What is going on? Have you found her?" "Madam, madam." The escort's teeth were chattering. After a while, he said, "Madam is killing people. She has killed dozens." "What?" Lu Li, Yu Huashan, and Ming Yu felt they had heard it wrong. They trembled. Lu Feishue was killing people? Lu Feishue had been submissive all these years. She had lost her temper and drive. She wouldn't even get into a conflict with others, let alone killing people. Did you make a mistake? Lu Li's first reaction was that the escort was wrong. "No," the escort said with certainty. "It is madam. I saw it with my own eyes. It is over there. I think it is Patriarch Li's yard. She is still killing. Let's go." Lu Li's eyes reddened. His blood was boiling, and he was filled with killing intent. If it was Lu Feishue, then something big must have happened. If Lu Feishue could kill people with her temper, then it must be serious. Whoosh, Yu Huashan and Mingyu looked at each other and rushed over with Lu Li. Both of them looked solemn. Lu Li was already in a bad mood, with Lu Ling missing. Now Lu Feishue was in trouble. Many people were going to die tonight. The escort led Lu Li through 2 streets, made a turn, pointed to the front, and said, "Over there. Young Master Li, go and stop, madam. Don't make a scene." Whoosh, Lu Li released his burning blood skill. He sped up and dashed forward. Many people had gathered over there. It was a mess. Miserable cries and shouts were coming from a yard. "Get out of my way." Lu Li's thunderous roar woke up all the people outside the yard. They looked over and saw a young man with silver eyes and killing intent rushing over. They quickly moved to the side. Lu Li rushed in like a gust of wind. "Die, die, die. You all deserve to die." Chapter 373. Aunt, Luli rushed over to Lu Feishue. He breathed in relief when he saw that she was covered in blood, but she was not seriously injured. Lu Feishue's hair was disheveled, and her robe was torn in many places. Her face was covered in blood as well. In her eyes, she was like a crazy woman. Seeing Lu Li coming over, she paused for a second and then burst into tears. She dropped her sword and threw herself into Lu Li's arms, crying. Yu Huashen and Mingyu rushed in. They used psychic power to check, and their minds were weighed down. At least more than 100 people had died in the yard. This was getting out of hand. Okay. Aunt, don't be afraid. I am here. Nobody can hurt you. Lu Li patted her shoulder and comforted her. He could feel her trembling and her tears falling down. She must be panicking and scared. He didn't know why Lu Feishue would kill so many people tonight, including a group of escorts, servants, and maids. But he could tell that Lu Feishue must have been agitated to be like this. Whatever the reason, Lu Li decided that he would protect Lu Feishue tonight. Anyone that dared to hurt her would have to walk over his dead body. Aunt, let's go back. He looked around and saw many escorts around. Their eyes were filled with anger and fear, but none of them dared to come over. He whispered to Lu Feishue and was about to walk out of the yard with her in his arms. You want to run? Stop them. We must wait for my father to come back, even if we all have to die. From a yard came a shout, but he didn't dare to come out, as if he was afraid that Lu Feishue would kill him. The escorts in the yard looked at each other, clenched their teeth, and rushed to the gate to block the way out. The yard was spacious and luxurious. It should be the yard of a patriarch of the external clan. The escorts also said it was Patriarch Li's yard. It seemed that the patriarch was not at home. Otherwise, Lu Feishue wouldn't have been able to kill so many people. Anyways, it was wrong of Lu Feishue to kill people in public and so many servants. Lu Li could not wait for Patriarch Li to come back and capture the scene. If they left now, even if Patriarch Li went to the Mystic Armor Mountain to wreak havoc, there would be room for negotiation. Lu Li released his fate wheel and flew up with Lu Feishue. He shouted to Mingyu and Yu Huashen, Let's go, what happened? As soon as Lu Li flew up, a man came from the north at a horrifying speed. It was a white-haired old man. He seemed to be at the peak of the noble lord realm. Lu Li recognized him at first glance. On the day Lu Zhongtan returned, this person was in the courtyard. Without a doubt, he was an elder of the outer hall. Father, 3 middle-aged men shot out from the backyard. They were all in the eternal realm and released their fate wheels. One of them shouted at the old man, Lu Feishue, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you started a massacre in our house. Shan, and Li, were all killed by Lu Feishue. The old man's face sank, and his killing intent surged. He looked at Lu Feishue, and his sword appeared in his hand. He scanned the area with his divine telekinesis, and his expression became even uglier. He stared coldly at Lu Feishue and said, Lady Feishue, you might be the young lady of the Lu clan, but you can't kill people for no reason, right? If you don't give this old man an explanation today, this old man can only offend you. Mingyu and Yu Huashen flew up and released their beads of life. Lu Li handed Lu Feishue over to Mingyu, cupped his fists, and said, Are you patriarchly? I have just arrived and I don't know the whole story. It is wrong of my aunt to kill people, but can we let the Hall of Patriarchs decide? Ha ha ha. Patriarch Li laughed mockingly. Decide? I, Li Yuan, have worked for the Lu family for my entire life. How can you kill my grandchildren because of some disagreement? Why don't you wait for a decision before killing? Why don't you put my family on trial before killing them? If you don't give me an explanation today, I will have to pay with blood. I will kill Lu Feishue and then go to the Hall of Patriarchs to apologize in person. Patriarch Li was telling the truth. If Lu Feishue had a conflict with the Li family, she could ask the Hall of Patriarchs for a decision. She could even kill 1 or 2 people and not harm the direct descendants of the Li family. But Lu Feishue killed people directly. She was in the wrong no matter what. It was normal for Patriarch Li to be furious when he saw the dead bodies in the house. His grandchildren were dead. There is nothing to explain, Lu Feishue suddenly said with reddened eyes. Li, that be asterisk H deserves to die. Everyone in the Li family deserves to die. Good, good. Patriarch Li laughed out of anger. The murderous intent was getting stronger. He looked at Lu Li and said, "Young Master Li, please step aside. I am sorry to have offended you today." Patriarch Li, please calm down. Lu Li would not step aside. He cupped his fists and said, "My aunt has always been a gentle person. Clearly, she has been agitated. Patriarch Li, please wait for a moment. The Hall of Patriarchs will be here soon, and we can judge in public. If this is my aunt's fault, I will take full responsibility." Ha ha ha. Lu Li's words enraged Patriarch Li. He laughed mockingly and said, "Gentle? She didn't even spare the servants and killed people at will. You say she is gentle? How are you going to take full responsibility? An eye for an eye. This is a principle that has never changed. Do you want to die for your aunt? Or do you want to protect her?" Seeing that Patriarch Li was getting angrier, Lu Li was getting anxious. He didn't want the matter to escalate. Otherwise, it would be more and more disadvantageous for Lu Feishue. He glanced towards the north, feeling a little puzzled. Why weren't Patriarch 8 and Patriarch 4 here when such a big thing had happened? None of the patriarchs of the Lu family showed up. Could it be that what happened tonight was against them on purpose? Every big family had a unique information transmission system. What if a spy sneaked into the city and started a killing spree? The Lu family's reaction was slow. Not many city escorts came. Patriarch Feng, who was in charge of the city escorts, didn't show up either. If the Lu family were not good-for-nothings, then there must be something wrong. The Lu family was one of the 12 royal families, one at the peak of the Central Plains. If the Lu family were so useless, they would have been wiped out a long time ago. Therefore, what happened tonight was strange. There might be someone behind the scenes. In a split second, Lu Li figured it out. He looked around and made sure that Patriarch Feng, who was in charge of public security, hadn't arrived yet. Lu Li sneered and said, "Patriarch Li, I think there is more to this. You can cultivate to the peak of the noble lord realm. You must not be an idiot. Think about it. If you insist on doing it, I will have to accept it." Patriarch Li might not have understood the meaning behind Lu Li's words. Maybe he was too angry to think about it. On hearing Lu Li's words, Patriarch Li swung his sword at Lu Feishue quietly like thousands of willow leaves. He shouted at the same time, "Lady Feishue, I am sorry. If I kill you, I will go to the Hall of Patriarchs and beg for death. You want to kill my aunt? You don't have that ability." Lu Li moved and cloned himself. The fate wheel under his feet came out as well. Every Lu Li had a fate wheel. More than a dozen Lu Li flew around and dashed toward Patriarch Li, unwilling to be outdone. This skill was impressive. It contained the profound meaning of mirror image. By the northern Central Plains, the demon controlled dozens of Lu Li's clones. Every clone was pulling the coffin of the Dragon King. Not even warriors at the peak of the noble lord realm could tell them apart. Patriarch Li couldn't either. Lu Li's right sleeve burst open and a beautiful beast claw appeared. Patriarch Li was enveloped by cold, killing intent. Lu Li's angry shout echoed in an area with a radius of more than a mile. "Patriarch Li, I will give you a chance. Are you going to leave or not? If not, don't blame me for being merciless. P.S. I wrote the wrong name of Patriarch 4. His name is Lu Dixian. I have corrected it. Also, I appeal for people to subscribe to the official version. You can subscribe to the official version on QQ Reading, Qidian, Genesis, and Mobile QQ Reading. They are all owned by the Yuewin Group. You can read the chapters on these 4 websites, and you can see the updates as soon as possible. Chapter 374. What happened today was strange. Lu Li believed that there must be some conspiracy. Of course, whether it was a conspiracy or not, he would not allow anyone to hurt Lu Feishue. He generated more than a dozen clones, and the blood claw appeared. He was aiming at Patriarch Li, but the latter ignored him. As far as Patriarch Li was concerned, Lu Li, a warrior that had just reached the Fate Wheel realm, was no different from a puny insect. Patriarch Li had heard of the rumor that Lu Li once destroyed one of Qiuwen's hands. But it was just a rumor. Qiuwen was a well-known, good-for-nothing playboy. Patriarch Li wouldn't mind. Young masterly move. It will be bad if you hurt her by accident. Patriarch Li shouted. He had the courage to kill Lu Feishue, but not Lu Li. After all, Lu Feishue was a young lady with a bad reputation. She was the culprit this time. Lu Li was different. He was the son of Lu Renhuang, the grandson of the family patriarch. How could Patriarch Li do anything to him? Patriarch Li wriggled his sword like thousands of willow leaves. Lu Li could not be seen clearly. Warriors with strong psychic power could see it, but Lu Li did not. Patriarch Li was so fast that he pierced through the more than a dozen Lu Li like a ray of light. He believed that Lu Li would not be able to react, given his speed. Swish, swish, soon, Patriarch Li realized he was wrong. The fate wheel under Lu Li's feet moved, and he got close to Patriarch Li. Also, more than a dozen clones rushed at him together. How come the fate wheel is so fast? Mingyu and Yu Huaxin were surprised. Patriarch Li also felt more than a dozen silver claws reaching at him. Patriarch Li's expressions changed, but he was not afraid. He waved his sword and covered himself up, trying to block Lu Li's claw and then knock him away. Crack! Patriarch Li was shocked. His Heaven Grade Xian artifact sword was crushed by the silver blood claw. A silver claw reached out and grabbed his arm. His arm instantly exploded, and he let out a blood-curdling scream as blood splattered through the air. Should I go or not? The more than a dozen Lu Li were still surrounding Patriarch Li. Their silver eyes were filled with coldness. If Patriarch Li didn't go now, he would be killed in the next second. No, if I die with you. Patriarch Li made up his mind. He controlled his bead of life and smashed it against Lu Li, wanting to die with him. Buzz, Mingyu made his move. He had already released his heavenly jewels, and his aura suddenly pressed down. How could the injured elder Li expect Mingyu to make a move? Lu Li and Patriarch Li were both suppressed. Lu Li knew that Mingyu was about to make a move, so he did not panic. He and Mingyu cooperated well. As soon as the momentum weakened, Lu Li reached for Patriarch Li's head. Bang! One of Elder Li's hands was crushed, and in addition to being suppressed by Mingyu's aura, he couldn't react in time, and his head was crushed. A headless corpse fell from the sky and smashed heavily into a rockery below. The fake mountain had been suppressed by Mingyu and had already collapsed. Elder Li's headless corpse landed on it, causing a cloud of dust to rise. The entire place was deathly silent. Elder Li's family's people and the city guards outside were all scared silly. Killing an outer hall elder, today's matter had completely blown up. Lu Li showed no emotion. For him, killing a patriarch of the external clan was no different from killing an average warrior of the noble lord realm. He gave Elder Li a chance, but Elder Li didn't cherish it. If he didn't kill Elder Li, he would be the one to die. Father! The three sons of the Li family shouted. They rushed down, threw themselves to Patriarch Li's body, and cried. One of them suddenly remembered something. He took out a signal detonator and threw it into the air. Boom! The signal detonator bloomed in midair, lighting up half of the mystic armor city. The moonlight was dim, and there were few stars. Therefore, the signal detonator was particularly glaring. Whoosh, whoosh, many people flew over from all directions. All of them were warriors above the noble lord realm. There were several powerful warriors at the south. They were at the human sovereign realm. Yu Huaxin and Mingyu looked at each other and moved closer to Lu Li with Lu Feishue. Today's matter was too big. If they were not careful, the four of them might die here. Lu Li had the same feeling. When he saw that no patriarch of the mystic armor mountain was coming, his heart sank. Today's matter was definitely a conspiracy. Patriarch 8, Patriarch 4, and Patriarch 5 might have been transferred elsewhere. Otherwise, they would have reacted by now. What was more, Lu Li was still wondering if Patriarch Li was dying on purpose. He was trying to make Lu Li and Lu Feishue commit a serious crime in the city in front of so many people. The Lu family was the owner of the mystic armor city. But once a member of the Lu family committed a serious crime, the Lu family could not punish him severely. Otherwise, how could he pacify the people in the city and pacify the anger of the patriarchs of the external clan? What was done was done. There was no point in regretting. Lu Li stood in midair, waiting for what would happen next. Whoosh! More than a dozen powerful warriors flew over. There were more coming from the distance. More than 1,000 city escorts had gathered here. Several streets nearby were blocked off. What is going on? From the south came a shout. An old man with thick eyebrows rushed over. Soon he arrived. His chi and blood were so strong that people felt suffocated. Needless to say, he was at the human sovereign realm. One of the several old warriors of the noble lord realm that arrived earlier looked into the yard and said, "Patriarch Hui Feng, young master, Li killed Li Yuan. Patriarch Feng, you have to do justice for my father." The three sons of the Li family flew up, knelt on the fate wheel, and kowtowed to Patriarch Feng. One of them cried and said, "Lady Fei Xue started a killing spree in our family. Young Master Li came and killed my father. If Patriarch Feng does not do justice for us, we will kill ourselves at the foot of the mystic armor mountain today." This Patriarch Feng was in charge of the defense of the mystic armor city. How important the mystic armor city was. Patriarch Feng must have a high status in the external clan. All the families were divided into internal clan, external clan, and guest clan. The disciples of the internal clan were the backbone of the family. The external clan was made up of powerful warriors attached to the family. The external clan was not to be underestimated. This Patriarch Feng was of the human sovereign realm, and he was much more powerful than Lu Fenghua. It was understandable that the Li family would ask him to do justice. Patriarch Feng looked at Lu Li and asked, "Young Master Li, are they telling the truth?" Lu Li looked at Patriarch Feng coldly. Instead of answering his question, Lu Li sneered and said, "Patriarch Feng, you are in charge of the Mystic Armor City? I want to ask you, why didn't you show up just now? Why did you come after I killed Patriarch Li? You're involved in this, right?" How powerful was the psychic power of a human sovereign realm warrior? Everything in the city must be under his surveillance. What was more, there were at least more than a dozen human sovereign realm warriors at the external clan. How could a human sovereign realm warrior not notice that Lu Feishue had started a killing spree at the Li family? Patriarch Feng didn't answer Lu Li's question either. Instead, he said angrily, "Since young Master Li has admitted to killing Patriarch Li, then there is nothing more to say. Someone take the four of them down and put them in jail. We will wait for our family master to come back and decide." Family master? Lu Li put on a mocking smile. It seemed that not only the external clan was involved, Lu Zhantan was involved as well. Chapter 375. At Patriarch Feng's order, several noble Lord Realm warriors came over to Lu Li. Ming Yu and Yu Huashan looked at Lu Li. Lu Feishue had calmed down a bit. She knew that she had caused a disaster today. She suddenly pushed Yu Huashan away and said, "This is all because of me. I, Lu Feishue, am willing to take some of the blame. It has nothing to do with Lu Li and the others. Aunt, you cannot take responsibility for this." Lu Li shook his head with a bitter smile. He looked at Patriarch Feng and said, "Patriarch Feng, don't be in such a hurry. Let's wait until the other patriarchs are here. Are you afraid that I will run away when we are so weak? My grandpa is not dead yet." Patriarch Feng squinted at Lu Li's last words. There were 3 human sovereign realm warriors here, and more were coming. It was true that Lu Li and the others were not powerful enough. Patriarch Feng didn't say anything else. Someone had gone to report to the Mystic Armor Mountain. It was only after the time for 1 incense stick to burn that more than a dozen people came over. Lu Li and the others looked over. Patriarch 4, Patriarch 8, Lu Fenghua, Lu Swan, Lu Enai, Lu Lin, Lu Hongyu, and some other juniors were here as well. Lu Li put on a mocking smile. "Aunt, don't say anything later. I will deal with it. Trust me." Lu Li looked at Lu Feishue, who was panicking and at a loss. He patted her shoulder and said in a low voice. Lu Feishue had lost control of her emotions today. If she said anything, things would get worse. Looking at Lu Li's calm face, Lu Feishue somehow felt relieved. She nodded and grabbed Lu Li with one hand. She was surrounded by Yu Huashan and Ming Yu, while Lu Li stood at the front with a mocking smile. Whoosh, Lu Fenghua, Lu Liantian, Patriarch 4, Patriarch 8, and the others flew over. Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8 looked at the countless dead bodies on the ground and the more than 20 patriarchs, deacons, and commanders of the external clan standing in the air. Patriarch 8 glared at Lu Li and said angrily, Lu Li, why are you messing around again? You're not young anymore, yet you're still acting like a bastard. Aren't you afraid that your grandfather will die from anger? Patriarch 8's words were skillful. First, he mentioned Lu Li's young age. Second, he mentioned Lu Li's grandpa. His meaning was clear. He wanted to minimize a big problem. Lu Li smiled gently. He looked at Lu Fenghua and the others who were gloomy and said, Patriarchs, where have you been? Such a big thing happened in the city, and you guys actually arrived so late? If spies from other races had infiltrated the city, tens of thousands of people would have died long ago. The Lu family was renowned throughout the world. Their adaptability was worrisome. Or, you knew that I was going to kill, so you waiting for me to finish killing before coming out to take them away? Lu Li's words made many people think. Lu Fenghua and the others said nothing. Lu Xuan sneered and said, Lu Li, how can you be so arrogant after killing someone? You don't look like a disciple of the Lu clan, do you? You keep talking about the Lu clan? Don't tell me you're a spy from another clan who snuck into the city just to kill my Lu clan's disciples. Wow, Lu Xuan and Lu Ni were the top young masters of the Lu family. Everyone in the city knew them. Why did he say this? Was Lu Li not the son of Lu Renhuang, but a spy from another clan? Lu Li squinted. He stared at Lu Xuan and said, If I were a spy from another clan, you would be the one I should kill, right? What's the point of killing a patriarch of the external clan? Killing you and Lu Xuan is more fun, isn't it? Bastard. Lu Fenghua was enraged. He shouted coldly, What are you waiting for? Lu Li and Lu Feishue have killed people in the city. Even though they are disciples of the Lu family, we cannot let this go. Someone, take them down. All patriarchs of the external clan, go to the Hall of Patriarchs and have a meeting to judge Lu Li and Lu Feishue. Wait, Lu Li said calmly. We can be judged, and we can admit our guilt. But I don't want you to be the chief judge. Ask Great Patriarch to come out. Lu Li will not say a word if you want to punish us or kill us. If you are the one doing the trial, I am afraid. I will die for no reason. When my grandpa comes out from cultivation, you will not be able to give him an explanation. Take them down. Lu Fenghua didn't listen to Lu Li at all. He shouted in rage. A group of noble Lord Realm warriors flew over. Patriarch 8 saw the killing intent in Lu Li's eyes, and his beast claws glowed as if he was about to fight back. Patriarch 8 made up his mind and said, Lu Li, don't fight back or nobody can save you. Patriarch 4 nodded and said, Lu Li, trust us, trust the family. Lu Li and Lu Hongyu turned to Lu Li. They shook their heads, telling Lu Li not to act recklessly. Lu Feishue grabbed Lu Li's hands. Lu Li looked back, and she shook her head with tears in her eyes. Things had gotten out of hand. If Lu Li went on like this, he would be killed on the spot. Lu Li sighed and thought about it. Patriarch 8 and Patriarch 4 would inform Great Patriarch. If they went on like this, they would be the ones to suffer. After all, Lu Feishue had killed so many, and he had killed a patriarch of the external clan in public. Never mind. With a glare on his arm, Lu Li put away his blood claw and his fate wheel. Mingyu and Yu Huashan put away their beads of life as well. A group of noble Lord Realm warriors came and took the 4 captives. Take them to the prison and lock them up in Heaven Grade. We will wait for the punishment. Lu Fenghua waved his hand, and the 4 captives flew towards the mystic armor mountain. Lu Fenghua even threw a glance to a patriarch of the human sovereign realm. That patriarch of the external clan followed them to prevent Lu Li and the others from running away and causing trouble. After Lu Li and the others were taken away, Lu Fenghua glanced over the crowd and shouted, It is the fault of the Lu family. Lu Fenghua, beg for forgiveness again. Please trust the Lu family. We will give you an explanation. Lu family disciples killing people in the city could cause panic in the city. If this matter was not handled well, people of the external clan would be at odds. Therefore, Lu Finghua had said so publicly to reassure the civilians and the external clan. Patriarch Feng started to clear the area and asked the onlookers to leave. At the same time, he cleaned up the bodies and settled down the Li family warriors. All the patriarchs went to the mystic armor mountain. On the surface, the city quieted down, but many taverns and tea houses were in an uproar. What happened here soon spread across the city and caused a sensation. Many people were cursing Lu Feishue and Lu Li. After all, Lu Feishue had killed servants and maids. With the rumors spreading, she had become a murderous demon. Lu Feishue's reputation was not good to begin with. This time, it was completely ruined. Of course, Lu Li's words aroused many people's suspicions. Many people had to do something from Lu Li's words. The patriarchs of the external clan and the patriarchs of the Lu family did come a bit late. If they had come earlier, Lu Li wouldn't have killed Patriarch Li. Lu Li had said retreat or not twice. Clearly, he didn't want to kill Patriarch Li. In the end, Patriarch Li wanted to kill Lu Li. Lu Li had no other choice but to protect himself and Lu Feishue. Lu Feishue went on a killing spree at the Li family. From the time she killed the first person to Lu Li's arrival, it took the time for one incense stick to burn. Patriarch Feng must have received the news by now. However, Patriarch Feng only showed up after Lu Li killed Patriarch Li. Many people wouldn't believe that there was nothing fishy going on. Chapter 376. Lu Li and the others were locked under a castle. This was the most heavily guarded prison in the Mystic Armor City. Everything inside was made of cold iron. Not even warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord Realm could break through. Also, there were Noble Lord Realm warriors guarding outside the prison day and night. There was also a human Sovereign Realm Patriarch. Nobody could escape. Lu Li and the others were brought in. They were all tied up by demon-trapping chains. As soon as the human Sovereign Realm Patriarch of the external clan came in, he said, "Separate them, one for each of us." You, Huashen, and Ming, you were both at the Noble Lord Realm. It was easy for something to go wrong when the four of them were put together. Lu Li stared at the Patriarch and said, "Separate them, but I have to stay with my aunt. You have no right to speak here." The Patriarch of the external clan sneered. There were only 3 outcomes for those who were locked up here: exiled to the Omen Island, sentenced to death, or locked up here for the rest of their lives. Lu Li was calm. He squinted at the Patriarch of the external clan and said, "What is your name? Are you so sure that my grandpa will not come out? If he does, aren't you afraid that your entire family will be killed? It is better to leave a way out. Don't block your way out completely." The Patriarch of the external clan was stunned. He stared at Lu Li, but said nothing. He waved his hand and said, "Then I will do young Master Li a favor and separate them." Lu Li and Lu Feishue were put in a room with nice facilities. There was a bedroom, a bathroom, and a toilet. This was where important criminals were locked up. Those who could come here were big shots, and the conditions were not bad. Lu Feishue had been crying. After the Patriarch of the external clan left, she looked at Lu Li and said, "Lu Li, this is all my fault. Later, I will beg the Patriarchs to let me take the blame. You don't be so impulsive in the future. Take care of yourself." Lu Li grabbed Lu Feishue's hands, led her to the bed, and said with a smile, "Aunt, this is not your fault. It is me that they want to deal with. You're not the one who implicated me. I am the one who implicated you. It doesn't matter whether you take the blame or not." "No, it's not like this." Lu Feishue shook her head, her face filled with panic and guilt. Lu Li patted her shoulder and said, "Auntie, don't worry too much. This is not a big deal. If Great Patriarch can step in, we will all be fine." "All right," Lu Li asked after a pause. "Aunt, what happened at the Li family? Why did you kill people?" "Because everyone in the Li family deserves to die." Speaking of this, Lu Feishue's eyes turned red. She gritted her teeth and said, "I didn't know it before. I only learned recently that Li, that bitch, had an affair with Zhao Lu." "Who's Zhao Lu?" Lu Li was confused. Who else could it be? Lu Feishua gnashed her teeth and said, "My former lover, the man who swore to me that he would never betray me." Lu Feishua talked for a long time. Her thoughts were jumpy. She mentioned one thing and another. Sometimes she would gnash her teeth, and sometimes she would complain. She seemed to be babbling nonsense. Luli understood after a while. Lu Feishua was deeply in love with a man named Zhao Lu, a young master of a small family. Later, the Lu family disagreed. Lu Jingyang locked Lu Feishua up for 3 years and then married Xiaowenza. On the night of the wedding, Lu Feishua ran away to find Zhao Lu. However, Zhao Lu's entire family disappeared. Lu Feishua thought that Zhao Lu's family was scared away by the Lu family. She gave up and married Xiaowenza. Some time ago, Lu Feishua suddenly received news that someone saw Zhao Lu in the city of mystic armor with the granddaughter of an external clan patriarch. Lu Li happened to be in the middle of trying to reach the Fate Wheel realm, so he didn't know about this. Lu Feishua didn't say anything either. She just sent someone to investigate secretly. On the day Lu Li was about to come out from cultivation, Lu Feishua sent someone to report. Zhao Lu and Li Yuan's granddaughter, were in a tavern in the city. Lu Feishua had been wanting to ask Zhao Lu why he left without saying anything. Therefore, she left the mystic armor mountain alone and went to the tavern to find Zhao Lu. However, as soon as she went to the tavern, Zhao Lu and Lily had left and went back to the Li family compound. Lu Feishua went to the Li family compound to ask. She saw Zhao Lu as well, but she was humiliated and ridiculed. Zhao Lu even put his arms around Li and said that he was with Lu Feishua only because she was the daughter of the Lu family patriarch and he never loved her. Now Lu Feishua was old and withered. He told her to get out of here and not to embarrass herself. Lu Feishua was mentally unstable after being tortured by Xiaowenza for so many years. The anger that had been suppressed for so many years exploded. She quarreled with Zhao Lu while Li instigated and insulted Lu Feishua for being shameless. Lu Feishua lost her mind. She killed Zhao Lu and Li. She even killed Li Yuan's grandson who had been insulting her. She didn't let go of the maids and servants who were involved in the mockery either. Her only thought was to kill all the people who had insulted her and then commit suicide. Alas, Lu Li sighed after he heard the story. He didn't say anything. He just hugged Lu Feishua and patted her back to comfort her. What happened tonight was clear. This was a conspiracy, and it was obvious that the mastermind was from the Lu clan. The outer clan elders and the Li clan were involved, and even Li Yuan might have been involved. Zhao Lu had been missing for so many years. How come he suddenly showed up at the city of mystic armor? Why did he show up in the mystic armor city with Li Liqing? Who was Zhao Lu? He was a disgrace to the Lu family. The city of mystic armor was closed. Average people couldn't get in, not to mention a young master from a small family who once had an affair with a young lady of the Lu family. Unless Patriarch Feng was senile, he wouldn't let Zhao Lu in. Unless Li was an idiot, why would she marry such a man? Also, who was Li? How dare she insult Lu Feishua? Lu Feishua might have a bad reputation, but she was Lu Jingyang's daughter. What about those maids and servants? How dare they mock a young lady of the Lu family? Were they out of their minds? Coupled with the fact that Elder Feng and the elders of the Lu family had arrived late, it was clear that this was a conspiracy. The target was not Lu Feishua, but Lu Li. To be able to mobilize Elder Feng and Elder Li, to be able to suppress the group of Outer Hall elders from making any reckless moves, to be able to set up such a grand scheme, this person's identity was obvious. It was either Lu Fenghua or Lu Yintian or Lu Zhangtan. When Lu Zhangtan came back, he summoned Lu Li and made him stand outside for an entire afternoon. Lu Li happened to be away. The smile on Lu Li's face grew colder. Even if it wasn't Lu Zhangtan's plan, he must be in the know. Lu Li had figured it out, but he was troubled. How should he solve the problem? The opponent's move was ruthless, forcing him and Lu Feishua to kill someone in the city, forcing them into a dead end. Not even Patriarch 8 and Patriarch 4 could plead for mercy. After all, if Lu Li and Lu Feishua were not punished severely, the civilians would not be angry and the warriors of the external clan would not be reassured. What was more, if Lu Zhengtan came back soon and convicted them, not even Great Patriarch could say anything. After all, Lu Zhengtan was the family patriarch, the supreme king of the Lu family. Chapter 377 Mystic Armor Mountain, Hall of Patriarchs. 9 patriarchs of the internal clan and 18 of the external clan of the Lu family were here. Patriarch Feng had taken care of business in the city. He was sitting in the second seat of the external clan. Lu Fenghua was sitting in the first seat on the left. Lu Zhengtan was not here, and Chief Patriarch was in closed-door cultivation. Lu Fenghua was the patriarch with the highest ranking. When everyone was here, Lu Fenghua asked Patriarch Feng, "Have you found out what happened?" "Yes." Patriarch Feng stood up and said, "I have asked all the servants, maids, escorts, and people of the Li family. I think I have a general idea." Lu Fenghua nodded and waved his hand. "Then tell me." Patriarch Feng stood up and said, "This is what happened. At dusk today, Lu Feishua suddenly went to the Li family. Li Li, a young lady of the Li family, her husband and a young master, Li Shan, entertained Lu Feishua. I don't know what happened at the banquet, but Lu Feishua and Li Li had a quarrel. Then Lu Feishua killed Li Li, her husband, and Li Shan. All the maids and servants nearby were killed. Since everyone was killed, we don't know why they quarreled. It is a fact that Lu Feishua killed people. Not only the Li family, but also the onlookers outside saw it." Elder Feng paused for a moment and continued. Lu Feishua killed a total of 113 people. Apart from Li Li and Li Shan, there were 6 collateral disciples of the Li clan who were killed. The rest were servants and guards. Later, Lu Li came and wanted to take Lu Feishua away. Li family must have informed Patriarch Li Yuan, so he came. But he was killed by Lu Li. I don't think I need to explain what happened next. Patriarch Feng's investigation was true. He didn't twist the facts on purpose. But Patriarch Feng didn't know if he was hiding anything. Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8 frowned. They all felt something was not right today, because all the patriarchs went to the underground secret room. It was Lu Fenghua who told them to go to the underground hall under the blood pond of God. All the patriarchs of the internal clan went because Lu Fenghua said he had found a way to cure Lu Xingyang. Lu Xingyang was placed in a secret room next to the blood pond of God. Lu Li had seen that secret room before, the one with cold air. The Lu family froze Lu Xingyang with ice to slow down the spread of the toxins inside Lu Xingyang's body. In the end, Lu Fenghua's prescription didn't work. When they came out, they were informed that Lu Li had killed someone in the city. Therefore, they hurried over. Why did Lu Fenghua have to call all the patriarchs at this moment? As soon as they arrived at the underground hall, something happened to Lu Li. Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8 could not help but feel suspicious. Considering what Lu Li said before, this matter became even more suspicious. The 3 elders looked at each other before the 8th elder stood up and said, "Elder Feng, I would like to ask, why didn't all of you rush over immediately after the incident? Outsiders might not know, but the patriarchs knew very well that the Lu family had planted spies in many places in the Mystic Armor City. Logically speaking, the moment something happened to the Li family, the secret agents would have noticed it and informed Elder Feng immediately. Even if Patriarch Feng couldn't stop Lu Feishua in time, he could at least stop Lu Li from killing Patriarch Li." A glint of shame flashed across Patriarch Feng's face. He said in embarrassment, "I am not home today. I have gone to another yard. I have just married a concubine. Ahem. I am partly responsible for this. Please punish me." Not at home. This was a good excuse. Without being at home, the secret agents couldn't find Patriarch Feng. They didn't know who to turn to. So Patriarch Feng came late. "What are you talking about?" Lu Fenghua waved his hand and said angrily, "We are talking about Lu Li and Lu Feishua now. We can talk about Elder Feng later. It has been confirmed that Lu Feishua and Lu Li killed someone in public. Tell me, how should we deal with this? If we don't deal with this soon, everyone in the Mystic Armor City will be in danger." Lu Liantian nodded and said, Lu Feishue killed people in a frenzy, and Lu Li killed a patriarch of the family. They're so insane that we must deal with them as soon as possible. Otherwise, the news will spread out and the Lu family's reputation will be tarnished. Who will trust us in the future? Patriarch 4 and Patriarch 8 looked at each other bitterly. It had been confirmed that Lu Li and Lu Feishue had killed someone in public. What was more, they had killed a patriarch of the external clan and his offspring. Patriarchs of the external clan were all here today. If they were to speak up for Lu Li, they would offend a group of patriarchs of the external clan. Those patriarchs of the external clan would be upset. If they were to plead for Lu Li, the patriarchs of the external clan would be disappointed. Lu Fenghua asked the patriarchs to express their opinions, but none of them said anything, even though many patriarchs of the external clan were angry. That being said, Lu Li was the son of Lu Renhuang and the grandson of Lu Zhengyang. If Lu Zhengyang were to wake up, anyone who spoke up would be punished one by one. Seeing that nobody said anything, Lu Fenghua turned to Patriarch 10 and said, Tianhe, you are in charge of laws. What should we do according to the family rules? Patriarch 10, Lu Tianhe, stood up with a dark face and said, according to the family rules, both of them should be sentenced to death. But Lu Feishue and Lu Li have special identities. I think they should be exiled to the Omen Island and never called back. Omen Island? Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8's expressions changed. What they feared the most was to be exiled to the Omen Island. It would be better if Lu Li and Lu Feishue were imprisoned for the rest of their lives. After all, Lu Renhuang could come back at any time. The Omen Island was a place where the Lu family exiled sinners. It was a dangerous place. Not even human sovereign realm warriors could come out, let alone Lu Li and Lu Feishue. They would only be buried there. Lu Fenghua nodded. He turned to the patriarchs of the external clan and asked, what do you think? Let's hear it. Patriarch Feng stood up and said, this is related to the external clan. I will not say anything. It is up to the patriarchs to make the decision. Many patriarchs of the external clan stood up and echoed. Their excuse was that they were from the external clan and they could not meddle in the family affairs of the Lu family. They would let Lu Fenghua make the decision. Patriarch 8's expressions were getting worse. He would look outside every now and then. He had sent someone to invite Great Patriarch. They could not stop this anymore. Only Great Patriarch could change the situation. If so, Lu Fenghua was a resolute man. He waved his hand and said, Family Master is not here. As usual, we have to vote. Let's vote. I think Lu Li and Lu Feishue are guilty. They should be exiled to the Omen Island and never come back. Lu Yintian nodded and said, yes, yes, yes. Patriarch 6 and Patriarch 10 soon said. They had 4 votes. One more vote, and the matter would be settled. Patriarch 7 sighed and said after a pause, I abstain. Patriarch 9 soon shook his head and said, I abstain as well. There were 9 votes in total. 4 agreed and 2 abstained. Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8's objections were futile. Lu Fenghua slapped the table and shouted, Then it is settled. In 5 days, Lu Li, Lu Feishue, and 2 other families will be exiled to the Omen Island. Tianhe, put up a notice to the entire city tomorrow. Oh no! Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8 looked at each other. The light in their eyes dimmed. The Hall of Patriarchs had passed a decision. The matter was settled. Even if Great Patriarch came out, it would be meaningless. Chapter 378. The meeting of the Hall of Patriarchs was the highest decision of the family. Of course, under normal circumstances, every family patriarch had absolute control over the Hall of Patriarchs. Basically, the family patriarch had the final say. A wise and powerful family patriarch could lead the family to prosperity. He was usually one of the most powerful people in the family. However, there were a few cases where the family patriarch was an idiot or a boorish man who only knew how to fight. Therefore, sometimes The meeting of the Hall of Patriarchs could save the family at the critical moment and prevent the family from falling into the abyss of destruction by following the wrong direction of the family patriarch. A family was not a family of one person. All the families in the Great Land were divided into internal clan, external clan, and guest clan. The internal clan was the backbone of the family, but the external clan was not to be underestimated. In many families, the powerful warriors of the external clan were as powerful as the internal clan. Some families even had more powerful warriors of the external clan than the internal clan. Everyone worked for the same family. If the family was destroyed, the people of the external clan would die as well. For example, a family patriarch of a 4th-rank family was determined to start a war with an 8th-rank family. Once this happened, the family might hold a meeting and the family patriarch might be dismissed. No one could die for an idiot. Therefore, the decision of the Hall of Patriarchs was usually the highest decision of each family. After the decision was made, Lu Tianhe, the 10th patriarch, posted the announcement to the entire city early the next morning. The news spread across the mystic armor city. Tens of millions of people in the city were in an uproar. Exiled to the Omen Island, never to be called back. This was basically a death sentence. The Omen Island was a famous, dangerous place in the eastern Central Plains. Those who went in could never come out. In history, at least tens of thousands of disciples of the internal clan and the external clan of the Lu family were exiled to the Omen Island. Only 3 came out. Lu Xingyang's daughter and grandson. Many people sighed. The decision was made so quickly, and it was made by the Hall of Patriarchs. This was so cruel. There was no room for negotiation. But many people were confused. Since the decision was made, why did they have to wait 5 days before sending them to the Omen Island? Theoretically speaking, they should be sent out in 2 or 3 days. Was there something else? Or could there be a change in the situation? Not only the people in the city, many disciples of the Lu family were confused as well. The sky had just turned bright when Lu Hongyu and Lu Lin were sitting in a side hall. They hadn't slept for the entire night and didn't look good. They had thought that they could use Lu Li to suppress Lu Ni and Lu Swan. Little did they expect that Lu Li would be suppressed so quickly. Lu Li had no chance to turn the tables. Sister Hongyu. Lu Lin thought about it and asked with a frown, "Why do you think they only sent Lu Li away after 5 days? Aren't they afraid that something might happen midway? What could possibly happen?" Lu Hongyu sneered and said, "The great elder didn't come out during the meeting, so of course he wouldn't care about it later." The hall meeting was the clan's highest decision, and even the clan head had to obey it. Furthermore, it was said that the clan head was in the heaven god residence and would only be back in a few hours. If he didn't come back now, it was obvious that he was letting Lu Fenghua and the others do the work while he stayed out of it. If the clan king wakes up in the future, he still has room to maneuver. Wake up? Lu Lin's expressions became even gloomier. He shook his head and said, "I don't think our family patriarch will wake up. They dare to touch Aunt Feishue and Lu Li because they're sure of this. The Lu family has changed dynasties." Changing dynasties. While Lu Lin was talking, he suddenly had an idea. A glint of coldness flashed through his eyes as he shouted in surprise, "Sister Hongyu, do you think they sent Lu Li away after 5 days on purpose to lure Uncle Renwang out?" "It is possible." Lu Hongyu's pretty face glowed. Lu Fenghua could convict Lu Li in just 2 hours, which meant that he couldn't wait to kill Lu Feishue and Lu Li. Now, he sent them away after a few days. It was highly possible that he was fishing. Not only Lu Fenghua, even Patriarch 8, Lu Hongyu and Lu Lin were suspecting that Lu Renhuang didn't go missing, but came back with Lu Li secretly. How could a living man go missing? How could he not care about his own son? Lu Renhuang asked Lu Li to come back and make a scene at the mystic armor mountain while he hid in the dark to observe the situation. If Lu Renhuang came back, he wouldn't let Lu Li and Lu Feishue be exiled to the Omen Island to die. If Lu Renhuang intercepted Lu Renhuang on the way, the family could send more troops, or Lu Zhantan could take Lu Renhuang down and convict him. On this thought, Lu Hongyu and Lu Lin shuddered with fear. They thought of one person for such a sinister plan. Lu Lin and Lu Hongyu looked at each other and said in a deep voice, "Is it his doing?" Lu Hongyu thought about it and said, "It is possible. Look at what happened to Lu Feishue at the Li family. It seems to be a conspiracy, but it is an overt one. We can see it, and Great Patriarch can see through it. But nobody can solve it. The way he set it up is similar to what he used to do. Killing 3 birds with 1 stone." Lu Lin exclaimed with admiration and fear. People think that Lu Xuan is talented. Actually, what is most terrifying about him is his schemes and means. I don't know if it is a blessing or a curse for the family to have such a person. Yes, he is only 21. Lu Hongyu was surprised as well. She exclaimed, "He set up a scheme so that his father could ascend to the position. He could gather most disciples of the Lu family under his banner. He could make many patriarchs of the external clan submit to him. Even Patriarch Feng can't stop praising him. If it were not for the fact that he is not talented enough to reach the human sovereign realm, he would have been the future family patriarch by now. Alas, that's enough." Lu Lin was getting impatient. He stood up and said, "I will go and see Lu Li. I will tell him the decision of the family so that he can be prepared. I will go as well." Lu Hongyu stood up and they walked out together. It was bright outside, but there were not many people on the Mystic Armor Mountain. Many people didn't dare to leave their houses. After all, such a big thing had happened. They arrived at the castle where the prison was. They walked down the stairs and asked to see Lu Li. The deacon in charge of the place didn't dare to make the decision, so he asked the human sovereign realm patriarch in charge. The human sovereign realm patriarch didn't say anything and let the two go. They were of high status, and with the patriarch here, they wouldn't cause any trouble. They arrived at Lu Li's cell. Through the iron gate, they saw Lu Li sitting on the edge of the bed and Lu Feishue sleeping on his shoulder. Lu Li made a shushing gesture when he saw them coming in. He didn't look worried. Instead, he was calm. Alas, they sighed when they saw the tear stains on Lu Feishue's face. She was frowning and her face was pale. Lu Hongyu said in a low voice, "Lu Li, do you know the decision of the Hall of Patriarchs?" Lu Li nodded and said softly, "I have been notified last night." They were surprised to see Lu Li being so calm. Lu Lin asked, "Lu Li, you don't know what kind of place the Omen Island is." "I know something." Chapter 379. Ever since Lu Li learned that he was a disciple of the Lu family, he wanted to come back. He and Lu Ling dreamed of going back to the Mystic Armor City and finding powerful warriors of the Lu family to save his parents. From the Dilong tribe to the Wuling County, then to the Thousand Island Lake, to the Central Plains, to the Wicked Sorcery Mountain, and then to the Gargoyle Mountain, and being hunted down by the Song family. Lu Li had gone through a lot of hardships and narrowly escaped death to get to the Mystic Armor City. However, the Lu family was different from what he had imagined, and the Lu family members were even more different. They were of the same blood, and they were his closest family members. His big grandpa, uncles, cousins, and many other family members with the same blood were here. But the way the family treated him disappointed him. What happened this time had hurt him to the core. Lu Li was fine, but they set up a trap for his aunt, a girl who was already badly wounded. The Lu family was not what he wanted. The smell of the Mystic Armor Mountain made him uncomfortable as well. He didn't feel at home here. Instead, he had to be on tenterhooks every day in case someone set him up or set him up. Now, he missed the northern desert. There he was free. He was the leader of the most powerful force at the northern desert. The northern desert was like a cage, just like the prison he was in right now. Therefore, being exiled was better than being locked up here for the rest of his life. Of course, Lu Li would not wait helplessly. If he had the chance, he would find a way to escape. Lu Ling was missing, and he couldn't ask anyone for help about Lu Renwang. There was no point in staying at the Lu family. Instead, he felt aggrieved and depressed here. Lu Lin and Lu Hongyu wanted to say something to comfort Lu Li, but they couldn't. They looked at Lu Li for a while, and then left, shaking their heads. The moment they left, Lu Hongyu suddenly looked back at Lu Li. Looking at his young and stubborn face and his starry eyes, she had an idea Maybe the way the Lu family treated Lu Li was the worst thing they had ever done. For the rest of the time, the Mystic Armor Mountain was peaceful, and so was the city. The patriarchs of the external clan were satisfied. Patriarch 8, Patriarch 4, and Patriarch 5 wanted to do something, but there was nothing they could do. The 8th elder went to see the Grand Supreme Elder, but the latter refused to see him. Patriarch 8 understood as well. Great Patriarch was the great patriarch of the Lu family. Even if he was partial to Lu Li, he could only stay silent and watch from the sidelines. Once he did something, the already unstable Lu clan would become even more unstable. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. What Lu Hongyu and Lu Lin expected didn't happen. Lu Renhuang didn't show up, and Lu Zhengyang didn't wake up. There was no turning back. On the 5th day, Lu Li and the other 3 were escorted to the iron-armored ship. Patriarch 10, Lu Tianhe, Patriarch Feng, and another patriarch of the human sovereign realm were escorting Lu Li to the Omen Island with 10 warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord realm. Lu Feishue had calmed down. She didn't say anything. She put on a mocking smile. Lu Fenghua and the others didn't show up. Only Patriarch 8, Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, Lu Hongyu, and Lu Lin came to see them off. Of course, there were some disciples of the Lu clan who didn't show up. They stood in the alley, in the yard, gazing at the iron-armored ship in silence. Lu Li was still tied up by the demon-trapping chains. He stood on the deck, looking at the buildings on the Mystic Armor Mountain and the endless buildings in the city. Suddenly, he laughed out loud. Ha, ha, ha. Grandpa, I'm sorry that I can't even see you. If I can make out alive, I will flatten the Mystic Armor Mountain and kowtow to you as an apology. Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8 looked at each other, speechless. They wanted to say something, but didn't know what to say. After all, the 3 of them couldn't do anything for Lu Li. It would be pretentious of them to say anything. Let's go. Lu Tianhe pulled a long face. He was afraid that Lu Li would say more outrageous things. He told someone to fly the iron-armored ship to the south. At the same time, a warrior at the peak of the Noble Lord realm restrained Lu Li. If Lu Li said anything else, the warrior would cover his mouth. Mingyu was calm. His life was saved by Lu Renhuang. He wouldn't complain even if he had to die. Yu Huaxin was anxious. He was only Lu Li's slave, and he was about to lose his life. But what could he do? What could he say? If he said anything, he would be killed right away. The iron-armored ship flew away and disappeared into the sky at the south. Patriarch 4, Patriarch 5, and Patriarch 8's eyes dimmed down. They looked guilty. If Lu Zhengyang woke up, they wouldn't know how to explain to him. The sun was burning. The city of Mystic Armor was getting further and further away. Somehow, Lu Li was in a better mood. It was as if he had broken free from the prison and the sky was clear. He glanced over to Lu Tianhe, Patriarch Feng, and the other human sovereign realm warrior. He frowned, trying to figure out a way out. Clearly, the 3 patriarchs were on Lu Jingtan's side. Otherwise, they wouldn't be escorted here. If it were just several warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord realm, Lu Li could fight back. Little White could bite off the demon-trapping chains easily. Lu Li could take action at any time. But there were only 3 human sovereign realm warriors. Lu Li didn't have the mood to do anything. Human sovereign realm warriors had force field. Once the force field stopped him, he could only wait for death. Lu Li and the others were escorted into a cabin where 5 warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord realm were guarding. Lu Li couldn't ask Lu Feishue about the Omen Island, even if he wanted to. The iron-armored ship was not large, but it was as fast as a large iron-armored ship. Clearly, it was specially made. Lu Li asked a warrior at the peak of the Noble Lord realm, "What is your name? Can you tell me how long it will take to get to the Omen Island?" The Noble Lord realm warrior showed no emotion. He answered after a pause, 2 days. Lu Feishue shook her head, seeing that Lu Li was about to ask something else. She forced a smile and said, "Lu Li, don't ask. It is pointless. We have to go into the island and fight. Whether we can survive or not will depend on our luck. I'm sorry to have dragged you into this. And don't talk about this. Lu Li moved closer to Lu Feishue and said with a smile, "Trust me, I can walk out of the Wicked Sorcery Mountain, and so can the Omen Island." But Lu Li didn't ask any more questions. Lu Feishue had hinted to him that they could not escape on the way. They had to fight on the island. Lu Li had always been decisive. He didn't waste any more time. He sat down with his legs crossed to recover his strength and energy. He would think about it when they arrived at the Omen Island. The journey was peaceful. After all, this was the iron-armored ship of the Lu family. Who dared to mess with it? Lu Tianhe and the others had been sitting in 3 cabins nearby. They didn't rest or cultivate. Instead, they were on guard. They were not afraid that Lu Li would make trouble, but Lu Renwang, Lu Lin, and Lu Hongyu were right. Lu Fenghua had been suspecting that Lu Renhuang had come back. Lu Li was just a decoy. One human sovereign realm warrior was enough to send Lu Li to the Omen Island. Now, there were 3, just in case Lu Renhuang tried to kill them. Time moved on. The iron-armored ship had crossed hundreds of millions of miles. Finally, night came. Lu Tianhe and the others were more careful. They used psychic power to check the surroundings at all times. They would be alarmed at the slightest movement. Buzzing right at that moment, a surge of psychic power came from the mountain down below. It was like a boulder was thrown into a calm lake. That surge of psychic power spread out like surging waves and locked onto everyone. Chapter 380. Everyone was alarmed even before Lu Tianhe gave the order. The other 2 human sovereign realm warriors flew out at once and looked down. At the same time, 5 warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord realm rushed out as if they were facing a formidable enemy. They could tell that this man's psychic power was powerful, even more powerful than a human sovereign realm warrior. The other 5 warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord realm didn't move. Instead, they dashed toward Lu Li and the others and restrained them at once. This was Lu Tianhe's order. Once there was anything wrong, the 4 must be restrained at once. What surprised Lu Tianhe and the others was that there was nobody down there. They scanned the area with psychic power over and over again, but found no one. "We have fallen into a trap." Patriarch Feng's expressions changed. He looked up to the sky and saw that it was so bright that it was frighteningly bright. The night sky, which was initially as dark as ink, exploded like a scorching sun. The light was so bright that Elder Feng felt as if he had been blinded. At this moment, he even felt he had lost control of his mind. In addition to Patriarch Feng, Lu Tianhe, the other human sovereign realm warrior, and the 5 noble lord realm warriors also looked to the sky out of instinct. They were stunned and stood where they were. Boom, boom, boom. All of them fell to the ground. At the same time, a surge of psychic power spread out into the cabin. The 5 warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord realm that were restraining Lu Li and the others fell to the ground one by one. Ow! Ming Yu and Yu Huashan were terrified. This was a miraculous skill. 3 human sovereign realm warriors passed out before they even saw anyone. One surge of psychic power could knock out 5 warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord realm. What kind of powerful, profound meaning was this? Lu Li's eyes flickered. An idea came to his mind, and he blurted out, "Powerful soul warrior." Lu Feishue nodded. She was born in a prestigious family and had seen many things. She was not powerful enough, but she knew many things. Only a powerful soul warrior could be able to knock out 3 human sovereign realm warriors in an instant, and it must be at the Earth Immortal realm. Then, the name of a man was on the verge of being revealed. "Little White," Lu Li shouted. Little White rushed out from his sleeve and bit off the demon-trapping chains. Lu Li stood up slowly, not a trace of nervousness on his face. He asked Little White to bite off the demon-trapping chains on Lu Feishue and the others. Then he looked outside the cabin and waited quietly. Buzz, space trembled as an old man with white hair and eyebrows came out. Lu Li bowed and said, "Greetings, great patriarch." It was the great patriarch of the Lu family, Lu Li's great-grandfather 5. A hint of curiosity appeared in his eyes as he squinted and said, "Boy, how did you guess it was me?" Lu Li smiled gently and said, "There are not many powerful soul warriors, and those at the Earth Immortal realm are even rarer. You are the only one who would risk offending Lu Zhangtan to save us." Oomph. The Grand Elder snorted coldly. With a light wave of his hand, the 5 people in the cabin automatically flew out. Lu Tianhe and the others were also sent flying off the deck and landed heavily on the ground. Great Patriarch looked at Yu Huashan and Mingyu and said, "Go and control the iron-armored ship. Fly to the east, to the sea." "Thank you, my lord." Mingyu and Yu Huashan were overjoyed. They were prepared to die at the Omen Island. They didn't expect that the Great Patriarch would lend a helping hand. They walked out quickly, controlled the iron-armored ship to turn around, and flew to the east. Mingyu and Mingyu were surprised. Why didn't the Great Patriarch come out to save them? Was he planning to break ties with the Lu family? Lu Li and Lu Feishue were confused as well. Lu Zhangtan must be furious that they attacked Patriarch Feng and Lu Tianhe in public. This was a challenge to Lu Zhangtan's authority. Looking into Lu Li and Lu Feishue's confused eyes, the Great Patriarch said after a moment of silence, "I waited until now because I don't want the Lu family to fall apart. Your grandpa will not wake up. Lu Zhangtan is the family master, and I must respect him publicly. You killed people on the street. If I were to come out, the patriarchs of the external clan of the Lu family would not be convinced. The Lu family is already in a precarious situation. It will be even more turbulent." Lu Li understood. He asked with a frown, "The thing is, Lu Zhangtan will know it was you who saved us. Will there be trouble? You have a conscience, after all." The Great Patriarch sighed and said, "There will be grudges, but I will not leave any evidence. Lu Zhangtan can't do anything even if he knows it was me. After this, I will not be able to live at the Mystic Armor Mountain anymore. I will have to find a quiet place nearby to cultivate." Great Patriarch said after a pause, "Lu Li, I think you know what is going on. Don't blame your grandpa's big brother. After all, your grandpa cannot wake up. If he wants to take over, he must have absolute authority. The existence of you and your father is a challenge to his authority. So, you cannot stay at the Mystic Armor City. You have to walk your own path from now on." Lu Li nodded. Great Patriarch had done the best he could by doing this. Lu Li's eyes flickered. After some thoughts, he asked, "Great Patriarch, can you go to the northern desert with me? I have something I need your help with." "No." The Great Patriarch shook his head and said, "I cannot live at the Mystic Armor Mountain anymore. But I cannot leave the Mystic Armor City either. Your grandpa is seriously injured and the Lu family is in danger. If I leave, the Lu family will be attacked. You have to rely on yourself." "Okay." Lu Li bowed deeply and said, "Anyway, thank you." "Don't thank me." The Great Patriarch waved his hand and said, "I will clear the way for you. You can go to the sea safely. As for where you go from now on, I don't care. I only ask of you one thing. In the future, when you become successful, do not do anything to the disciples of the Lu family. If you run into your father, tell him for me. After all, this is the Lu family, and we are all disciples of the Lu family. We cannot kill each other." "Okay." Lu Li nodded and added, "As long as they don't mess with me, I will leave them alone." "Okay." Great Patriarch knew Lu Li's character well. It was commendable that Lu Li could talk like this. After some thoughts, Great Patriarch handed over an interspatial ring and said, "I am sorry. I don't have anything good, so I can only give you some Xian crystals and mystical materials. Lu Li, you are a good kid. I hope you can work hard on cultivation and don't waste my things." Looking into the eyes of the Great Patriarch, Lu Li took over the interspatial ring without saying no. Then he got down on one knee and bowed. "Okay, go. It's a vast world out there. Heroes should not be afraid of any difficulties. Go against the wind and soar up to the sky." The Great Patriarch waved his hand and gave Lu Li a meaningful look. Then he disappeared into the cabin. Lu Feishue got down on one knee as well. They said nothing, but for the first time, they felt the warmth of the Lu family. The iron-armored ship whooshed across the night sky like a ferocious beast. It was fast and disappeared into the distance in a blink of an eye. Chapter 381. Lu Tianhe and the others had been sleeping for more than 16 hours. Great Patriarch was at the Earth Immortal realm, and he had knocked them out with soul skills. Great Patriarch had been merciful, or else they wouldn't have woken up for days and nights. Patriarch Feng was the first to wake up. His eyes flickered, but he didn't sound the alarm right away. Instead, he woke up the others. What is going on? Where is he? After Lu Tianhe woke up, his expression changed drastically. He exchanged glances with Elder Feng and obtained some information from Elder Feng. Step back for 3 miles. Lu Tianhe didn't take any rash actions. He asked the 10 noble Lord Realm warriors to step back. Is it Great Uncle 5? Patriarch Feng didn't answer directly. He said, I can't think of anyone else. It is him. Lu Tianhe sighed slightly. Only martial artists of the Earth's celestial stage can knock us out in an instant. There are only 4 martial artists of the Earth's celestial stage who cultivate their souls in the entire central prefecture. 2 of them are far away in the south, and the last one is from the Pavilion of Delicacy. The Pavilion of Delicacy has always been on good terms with us. They will not offend us for Lu Li. Great Uncle 5 is the only one. Also, if it weren't for Great Uncle 5, we would all be dead now. Another human sovereign realm warrior nodded and said, Tianhe, what do you think we should do now? Lu Tianhe thought for a while and took out a golden token. Xian energy glowed and words appeared on it. This was a special kind of token. Each one was worth billions of Xian crystals. This was the only token that could send messages over long distance. After he sent the message, he waited quietly. After the time it took for 2 incense sticks to burn, the golden token lit up. Lu Tianhe glanced at it and said, Let's go back. Father has heard about what happened here. He has already returned to the mystic armor mountain. As long as Great Patriarch is not here, then it must be him. Okay, it would be pointless to go after such a powerful warrior. What could they do even if they could? If the Earth Immortal Realm warrior was determined to save Lu Li, not even Lu Zhangtan could stop him. Lu Tianhe took out an iron-armored ship and flew back to the mystic armor city. Along the way, Lu Tianhe told the 10 noble Lord Realm warriors not to tell anyone about this, or they would be killed. After flying for half a day, the token in Lu Tianhe's hand lit up again. He glanced at it and sighed. It's 5th great uncle. Father has already met him. At this moment, 5th granduncle was at Mount Wenfo. Father said that he had a secret discussion with him and indicated that this matter was over. But from today on, Lu Li and Lu Feixue will be erased from the family register. From now on, they're no longer disciples of the Lu family. Elder Feng and the other elder nodded, not daring to say anything else. After all, Lu Zhangtan and the Supreme Elder had already discussed this matter, so it was meaningless for them to say too much. Mount Inquire? Patriarch Feng had mixed feelings in his eyes. Mount Wen Mountain was 100 miles to the west of the mystic armor city. Great Patriarch going to Mount Wen Mountain meant that he would no longer be involved in the internal affairs of the Lu family. However, he didn't go too far away. This meant that he would still lend a hand if the Lu family was in trouble. Lu Zhangtan asked Lu Tianhe and the others to wait outside for 2 or 3 days before returning to the mystic armor city. By then, they could publicize that Lu Li and Lu Feixue had been sent to the Omen Island. Only in this way could the people and the army be reassured. Otherwise, if Great Patriarch and the family master went against each other, the disciples at the bottom and middle levels of the family would be disturbed. Lu Zhangtan and Great Patriarch had reached an agreement that Lu Zhangtan would not send anyone to hunt down Lu Li and the others. As for the information, it was Lu Li who delivered it to the Omen Island. Many people on the mystic armor city sighed, feeling sorry for Lu Li. After all, he was Lu Jingyang's grandson and he was talented. He could kill noble Lord Realm warriors when he was only at the Soul Pond realm. He was as talented as Lu Renwang. Lu Renwang never showed up. Lu Li and Lu Feixue were sent to the Omen Island. All the Lu family disciples had accepted the fact. The Lu family had changed dynasties, and the era of Lu Zhengyang was over. It had been 10 years. It was not good news that a family patriarch had been missing for 10 years. No matter how long he had been in closed-door cultivation, he would come out once or twice. Plus, the Liu family had sealed off the city, and there were all kinds of rumors. Many people had guessed that something had happened to Liu Zhengyang. Liu Li and the others had traveled tens of millions of miles. Of course, it would take them some time to get out of the eastern central plains. The mystic armor city was not far from the sea. It would take noble Lord Realm warriors 4 to 5 days to get there. The iron-armored ship was specially made, and its speed was twice that of a noble Lord Realm warrior. They should be able to set sail in 2 days. Along the way, Yu Huaxin and Ming Yu activated the inhibition formation on the iron-armored ship so that the outside world could not see them. At the same time, they avoided cities of different sizes and chose to fly in the wild. Luli was not worried at all. Since Great Patriarch had taken action, he would not end up like this. He had said that he would clear the way, so they should be able to set sail. Of course, they might not be safe after they set sail. It was not surprising that Liu Zhangtan might send someone to hunt them down. Luli didn't worry about what would happen after they set sail. He had been thinking about a question. Where are they going? He could not rely on the Liu family. He had to rely on himself, on his cultivation, on his parents, and on his own to find Lu Ling. Cultivation required resources. Without enough power, he could not save his parents. Without enough power, he could not find Lu Ling. Even if he did find her, how could he save her from that mysterious, powerful warrior? Ghost Snake Granny was at the Noble Lord Realm, and she was powerful. Someone who could take Lu Ling away from her and learn a 7th rank holy light profound meaning must be at least at the human sovereign realm. The first thing that came to Lu Li's mind was to rely on a force and become a member of the external clan so that he could cultivate with the help of resources. What was a force? 6th rank forces were nothing to Lu Li, and he didn't know anything about 7th rank forces. Lu Li turned his attention to the 12 royal families. An enchanting girl came to his mind, Jiang Qiling. He was indebted to Jiang Qiling. If he went to the Pavilion of Delicacy, Jiang Qiling would help him. But if the Pavilion of Delicacy knew who he was, would they take him in? The Liu family and the Jiang family were both royal families. Would the Liu family dare to take a disciple of the Jiang family as a disciple of the external clan? That would be a provocation to the Jiang family. Never mind. After much consideration, Luli gave up on the idea of going to the Pavilion of Delicacy. He didn't want to live under someone else's roof. He was wild in character, and there were many rules in a big family. He might make trouble. If he couldn't rely on a big family, he would have to fight for territory by himself. Without territory, there'd be no resources. How could he cultivate without resources? How could he gather powerful warriors? How could he get information about Lu Ling without powerful warriors working for him? To the northern desert. Luli soon made up his mind. The northern desert was his territory. The Cyan Phoenix race and the Mammoth race were his loyal subordinates. As long as he could go back to the northern desert, he could unify the northern desert and build a new empire. The resources at the northern desert couldn't compare with those at the central plains. But as long as he could unify the northern desert, he could get many resources. He could sell those resources at the central plains and get many Xian crystals. Later on, he could use the Xian crystals to buy rare mystical materials. That being said, there was a problem with going back to the northern desert. The Liu family already knew that he came from the northern desert. Would they send someone to the northern desert to kill him? Nobody could stop the Liu family from sending a human sovereign realm warrior secretly. Luli was in deep thoughts. He spent an entire day on the iron-armored ship. Finally, he decided to take a gamble. He gambled that Great Patriarch would protect him. Great Patriarch told him that if he made any achievements in the future, he must not kill disciples of the Liu family. Since Great Patriarch was so protective of disciples of the Liu family, as the grandson of Liu Xingyang, Great Patriarch would protect him as well. Otherwise, Great Patriarch wouldn't have come to save him. Maybe Great Patriarch would come to an agreement with Liu Zhangtan so that Liu Zhangtan wouldn't go after him. They had been flying for more than a day without a single pursuer. Great Patriarch had played a part in this. Forget it. Let's go back to the northern desert. Chapter 382. He stood up, went to Mingyu and Yu Huashan and told them what he thought. Mingyu didn't mind. He would go wherever Lu Li went. He had set his mind on Lu Renhuang. Now that his master was gone, he would follow the young master. Yu Huashan was about to cry. He had thought that he could gain a lot of benefits by coming to the Lu family, and that Lu Li would take the soul worms out of him. He would return to the northern desert as an overlord. Little did he expect that Lu Li, the devil, would return to the northern desert and unify the northern desert. But what could he say? Looking at Yu Huashan's expressions, Lu Li smiled. Then he took out the jade talisman for soul worms from his ring. Xian energy glowed in his hand. He dissolved the jade talisman in an instant and killed all the soul worms in Yu Huashan's soul pond. With the soul worms dead, Yu Huashan was no longer slave. He was free again. Young master, what are you doing? Yu Huashan was shocked. He asked in confusion. Mingyu's eyes glowed as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Yu Huashan was at the middle stage of the noble lord realm. Mingyu's force could not suppress Yu Huashan. What if Yu Huashan decided to kill him? Lu Li was not worried at all. He looked at Yu Huashan with a smile. Yu Huashan felt a chill down his spine. He knelt down and said, "Thank you, young master. I will serve you as my master for the rest of my life, and I will be loyal to you forever." Yu Huashan was not stupid. He knew how powerful Lu Li was. At such a close distance, if Lu Li suddenly released his skill, Yu Huashan wouldn't be able to tell which one was which. As soon as the blood claw moved, Yu Huashan would be smashed into pieces. Good. Lu Li nodded. He had been observing Yu Huashan. If Yu Huashan had any killing intent, he would be a dead man by now. Lu Li said, "Yu Huashan, get up. I want to unify the northern desert, and nobody can stop me. I can kill warriors at the peak of the noble lord realm if I want to. Nobody at the northern desert can defeat me." Yu Huashan and Mingyu agreed. Nobody at the noble lord realm could see through Lu Li's cloning skill. Also, Lu Li's fate will seem to be different from others. It was fast, comparable to a 6 or 7-layered fate wheel. What was more important was Yi Cha and the others. Lu Li had so many powerful warriors. Who could compete with him at the northern desert? The new emperor of the northern desert. Thinking of this, Yu Huashan was tempted. The Yu family was only a 5th-rank family and had always been inferior to the Z family. Since he was going to lower himself, why not lower himself to the great emperor of the northern lands? At that time, the Yu family would be able to reap great benefits and would be able to soar along with them. There was one more thing. Lu Li was a disciple of the Lu family of the Central Plains. His father was Lu Renhuang, and his grandpa was Lu Zhengyang, the family patriarch of the 12 royal families. Sooner or later, Lu Li would go back to the Central Plains. If the Yu family stayed with Lu Li and Lu Li became the family patriarch in the future, how much benefit could the Yu family get? How talented was Lu Li? Others might not know, but Yu Huashan did. Lu Li could not cultivate Xian energy before he was 15. It had only been a year, and he could already kill noble Lord Realm warriors. If he was given a few decades, what kind of combat strength could he achieve? Unimaginable. Yu Huashan didn't stand up. Instead, he bowed again and shouted, "Young master, I serve you wholeheartedly. In the future, if I have any other thoughts, let the Yu family be destroyed and all our people perish." Yu Huashan's words were serious. Even Mingyu was moved. Lu Li's smile grew bigger. He nodded and said, "Yu Huashan, you have been with me for some time now. You should know what kind of person I am. Follow me wholeheartedly. As long as I'm still alive, I will not mistreat the Yu family." "Thank you, young master." Yu Huashan bowed. This time, before Lu Li said anything, he stood up by himself. There was determination on his face. The three of them looked at each other and smiled. There was always a gap between Yu Huashan, Mingyu, and Lu Li. But this time it was gone. "Young master." Yu Huashan was used to calling him young master, so he didn't change it. He thought about it and said, "Do we fly back to the northern desert by sea? Or by teleportation formation?" If they flew back by sea, it would be a long journey. It would take at least 1 or 2 years. Teleportation formation would cost Xian crystals. The three of them were so poor that they had to borrow Xian crystals to go back to the Lu family. Where could they get Xian crystals now? Buzzing, the ring on Lu Li's hand glowed, and a ring appeared. It was given to him by Great Patriarch. After he consumed it, he went in to have a look. He was shocked. Great Patriarch said he had some Xian crystals and mystical materials, but there were 5 or 6 million purple Xian crystals in there. That would be 50 to 60 billion Xian crystals. There were a few mystical materials as well. This interspatial ring was more than 100 times larger than Lu Li's. There were at least tens of thousands of mystical materials in there. Ordinary spirit materials definitely wouldn't be of interest to the Grand Elder's collection. The tens of thousands of mystical materials must be treasures of heaven and earth, priceless. Teleportation. Teleport back. Lu Li had tens of billions of Xian crystals. There was no reason for him to take the iron-armored ship back slowly. It was a long way. Who knew what he would run into? What if he ran into powerful pirates in the sea? Lu Li took out a map of the Central Plains, glanced at it, and made up his mind. I'm going to the sea soon. After that, we will fly along the coastline towards the north. We should be able to reach the Flowing Clouds region in 2 months. The Flowing Clouds region is the territory of the Palace of Heaven's Roars. We can teleport to the north of the Central Plains from the Flowing Clouds City, and then to the northern desert from the Cloud City. Okay, Mingyu and Yuhuashan looked at the map and thought this was the shortest way as well. Teleportation formation would be much safer. Lu Li had reached the Fate Wheel realm, and his soul was much stronger. Teleportation shouldn't be a problem. They could just rest for a couple of days. The iron-armored ship flew on. That night, they finally set out to the sea. Looking at the boundless sea and the quiet sea under the moonlight, Lu Li was in a good mood. He noticed that Lu Feishue had been staying in the cabin for a couple of days. He knocked on the door and walked in, only to see Lu Feishue sitting there with a gloomy face. Lu Li, what is it? Lu Feishue smiled at Lu Li. Lu Li sat next to her and asked, Aunt, what is it? Are you unhappy? Lu Feishue was just going to say something perfunctory. Looking into Lu Li's deep eyes, she sighed and said, Lu Li, I am useless, right? If it were not for me, you wouldn't have to wander around the world. Alas, you have been alone since you were a kid, and you have suffered a lot. Now that you are back at the Lu family, you have to run away because of me. Aunt, the smile on Lu Li's face disappeared. He said seriously, Didn't I tell you before? This has nothing to do with you. It is because Lu Zhongtan wants to be promoted. My father and I have affected him. Even without you, I would have been driven away or killed by Lu Zhongtan sooner or later. What is more, Lu Li thought about it and said seriously, To be honest, I am not happy living at the Lu family. I am more comfortable here. I have never been used to relying on others. I don't expect to rely on the Lu family. I will make a name for myself. I will prove to Lu Zhongtan how wrong his decision is. I will make the Lu family regret. Aunt, do you trust me? I do. Lu Feishue nodded. She touched Lu Li's face and said, You and my brother may look different, but you are the same inside. You are stubborn, crazy, persistent, and unwilling to admit defeat. It is a pity that my brother is missing. If he could see you, he would be happy. Actually, my father is not missing. Chapter 383. Really? Lu Feishue's eyes glowed. As long as she could find out where Lu Renhuang was, she could find a way to save him sooner or later. Lu Feishue was inspired. She asked about Lu Renhuang in detail, and Lu Li told her everything. But he didn't tell her which dangerous place he was at, because he was afraid that she would do something stupid. You want to go back to the northern desert? To unify the northern desert? Lu Li then told Lu Feishue his idea. She thought about it and said with concern, The northern desert is a small place, but it is not easy to unify the northern desert, right? There are no human sovereign realm warriors of the northern desert, but there are many at the noble lord realm, right? Some. Lu Li smiled and said, But I have some noble lord realm warriors working for me, and I have a good relationship with the second most powerful warrior on the northern desert warlord list. I can unify the northern desert easily, but I don't have time to manage it because I need to cultivate. Ant, can you help me manage it? I need an endless supply of resources. Only then can I cultivate faster and become stronger. Manage? Lu Fei-Xue was surprised. Then she said with concern, Ant, you don't know how to manage? Can I? Ha ha ha. Luli laughed and said, Of course. You can kill anyone who is not convinced. Ant, you are a young lady from a big family. Can't you manage a small northern desert? Okay, I'll give it a try then. Lu Fei-Xue nodded. She looked better. Luli was relieved as well. He didn't need someone to manage him. Yu Huaxin could. He just wanted Lu Fei-Xue to have something to do, so she wouldn't overthink. For the rest of the time, the iron-armored ship flew along the coastline with the inhibition formation activated. The ship could not be seen with naked eyes unless powerful warriors used psychic power. They didn't run into any powerful Xian beasts or pirates at the coastal waters. Luli sat for a day and continued to cultivate. He had just made a fate wheel, and he had used up too much Xian energy. He needed some time to stabilize his realm. At the same time, he needed time to master and familiarize himself with the fate wheel. The cultivation after the fate wheel realm required him to make more fate wheels. The second fate wheel could not be made easily, and it would be more troublesome than the first one. If Lu Li's foundation was unstable, he would not be able to cultivate in the future. Lu Fei-Xue began to cultivate. She wanted to go to the northern desert to help Lu Li, so she must find a way to reach the noble lord realm first. Now that she had the spiritual materials, as long as she cultivated diligently, her chances of breaking through were quite high. Ming Yu and Yu Huaxin took turns to cultivate and rest, controlling the iron-armored ship. One of the two had been using his divine sense to probe the surroundings, ready to give a warning the moment anything happened. It was quiet for 4 or 5 days in a row. They encountered some iron-armored ships on the way. However, both parties used their psychic powers to scan each other and then immediately avoided each other. Lu Li's iron-armored ship was the best one of the Lu family. It was so fast that anyone could tell it was from a big family. Who would dare to make trouble for no reason? 5 days later, Lu Fei-Xue suddenly walked out of the cabin and woke Lu Li up. Lu Fei-Xue had been cultivating for several days. Her mind and body were at the peak. She was ready to reach the noble lord realm, and she needed Lu Li and the others to protect her. The journey to Floating Cloud City would take more than a month. Such a long time was suitable for cultivation. Lu Fei-Xue had the King Kong bloodline. After she reached the noble lord realm, her abilities were greatly enhanced. She could help Lu Li. Lu Li was happy that Lu Fei-Xue was going to reach the noble lord realm. He told her to try her best and not to worry about anything. She could count on them. It would take at least 5 or 6 days to reach the noble lord realm. During this time, nobody could disturb Lu Fei-Xue, or else those expensive mystical materials would be wasted. Lu Fei-Xue nodded and went back to the cabin. Lu Li didn't dare to cultivate anymore. Ming Yu and Yu Huaxin came out. Lu Li sat with his legs crossed outside of Lu Fei-Xue's cabin. Yu Huaxin went to the front deck, and Ming Yu controlled the iron-armored ship. Yu Huaxin and Ming Yu spread out their psychic powers to check at all times. Lu Li was here in person, so they couldn't afford to be careless. Lu Li sat for a while. He didn't have psychic power, so it was pointless for him to just sit there. Therefore, he decided to cultivate outside of the cabin. He would know that someone was going to attack Lu Fei-Xue. Nothing happened for 4 days in a row. Lu Li didn't sleep for 4 days, and finally, he couldn't stand it anymore. He leaned against the cabin and took a nap. Ming Yu and Yu Huaxin were tired as well, but they were powerful, so they could stand it. They didn't let their guard down and kept on checking. Young master, we are under attack. In a daze, Lu Li suddenly heard Yu Huaxin shout. He opened his eyes and looked forward. As he expected, there were 6 iron-armored ships in front of them. They fanned out and blocked the way. Ming Yu stopped the iron-armored ship. He flew over and stood next to Lu Li. They should be pirates. There are 6 noble lord realm warriors, 1 at the peak of the noble lord realm and 3 at the later stage. There are more than 20 at the eternal realm, and the rest are at the fate wheel realm. There are more than 100 of them in total. Mingyu explained. Lu Li was confused and asked, "How do they know where we are? I don't think their iron-armored ships can catch up with us." Yu Huashan looked back and said, "Some pirates must have found us along the way and sent a message to them to intercept us here." "Young master, what should we do? Let's talk." The pirates didn't attack right away. Lu Feishue was trying to reach the noble lord realm, and there were 6 of them. Lu Feishue would be at a disadvantage. Lu Li could kill warriors at the peak of the noble lord realm, but he wasn't so arrogant as to think that he was invincible among the noble lord realm warriors. Yu Huashan opened the inhibition formation, which didn't have much defensive power. It could only hide people. Yu Huashan released his bead of life, stood in midair, and shouted, "Which force are you from? Why are you stopping our ship?" "Nothing." The warrior at the peak of the noble lord realm grinned. There was a scar on his face, which made him look ferocious. He was a middle-aged man with a stocky build and a huge axe in his hand. He sneered and said, "I am Lu Rinxiong, and I am the master of this sea area. Who are you? How dare you fly in my territory? Don't you know the rules?" Yu Huashan was an overlord himself, and he had an extraordinary temperament. He smiled coldly and said, "Master Lu, it doesn't matter who we are. What rules do you have? Tell us." Yu Huashan understood. Lu Rinxiong grinned and said, "I have so many brothers and I need to eat. How about you give us some Xian crystals to spend? We don't want much. Just 20 billion Xian crystals will do." 20 billion? Lu Li sneered. Did they really think they were pushovers that could be bullied at will? Lu Li walked to the deck by himself after some thoughts. He cupped his fists and said, "I am Qiu Zhe of the Palace of Gods. Master Lu, 20 billion Xian crystals is nothing to the Palace of Gods. But we came out in a hurry this time, so we didn't bring that much. I can only give you 1 billion at most. Master Lu, can you do me a favor?" "Palace of Gods?" A glint of coldness rose in Lu Rinxiong's eyes as he said, "The Palace of Gods has no business in the sea. Cut the crap. If you don't give me 20 billion, I will chop you all and feed you to the fish." Lu Li's expressions turned cold. The fate wheel in his abdomen glowed as he shouted, "So, there's no room for negotiation? If you want to fight, then we will have to fight. Even if you kill us, the army of the Palace of Gods will be here soon. Lu Rinxiong, you will die sooner or later." "Ha ha ha." Lu Rinxiong laughed. He waved his axe and shouted, "Brothers, this is a big fish. Take this toy boy down and ask the Palace of Gods for 100 billion. Everyone will have meat. Kill." Chapter 384. Lu Li wanted to use the Palace of Gods to scare off the pirates. Little did he know that the reputation of the Palace of Gods was useless in the sea. Instead, these people wanted to kidnap him and take him to the Palace of Gods to extort Xian crystals. Since they wanted to fight, there was nothing Lu Li could do. He looked at Mingyu and asked him to move back the iron-armored ship to protect Lu Feishue. His abdomen lit up as his fate wheel appeared. Then he dashed toward Lu Rinxiong in a blur. "Yu Huashan!" Lu Li shouted. Yu Huashan cooperated with him. The flames on his neck surged into his bead of life. Then many dragons of fire whooshed out towards the 6 iron-armored ships. There were more than 10 or 20 people on each of the 6 iron-armored ships. Yu Huashan's dragons of fire were fast, and all the iron-armored ships were hit. These were average iron-armored ships. Yu Huashan's flames were ferocious, and a raging fire was ignited. Several warriors of the Fate Wheel realm were hit by the flames. They cried out miserably. Many warriors of the Fate Wheel realm flew out from the iron-armored ships in a hurry. It was a mess. Courting death, Lu Rinxiong was filled with anger. He didn't mind Lu Li flying over. Instead, he dashed toward Yu Huashan. As far as he was concerned, Lu Li, a puny warrior of the Fate Wheel realm, was just a foolish young master coming here to court death. As long as Yu Huashan and Mingyu were killed, Lu Li would not be able to escape. Okay. Lu Li was overjoyed to see that Lu Rinxiong didn't kill him when he was about to pass by. It seemed that Lu Rinxiong really wanted to capture Lu Li alive and blackmail the Palace of Gods. This was a good chance. Swish, swish. When Lu Renxiong was about to pass by Lu Li generated more than a dozen clones and dashed to all directions. Demons could generate more than 60 clones. Lu Li didn't have time to study it, so he could only generate more than 10 clones. More than 10 were enough. Many people were surprised to see more than a dozen Lu Li running to all directions. Several noble Lord Realm warriors stopped and released their Xian energy to attack Lu Li's clones. Lu Renxiong stopped. The axe in his hand glowed, and he hacked at one of Lu Li's clones. Lu Li's avatar collapsed. Lu Renxiong hacked at the second one. He thought both were fake. Right at this moment, Lu Li's eyes lit up like stars. He waved the blood claw hidden in his sleeve and grabbed at the huge axe with all his strength. Crack, as expected, the axe was only a heaven-grade Xian artifact. It was crushed in an instant. Lu Li shouted, "Yu Hua Shen." The reaction of warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord Realm was fast. Without Yu Huashen's help, Lu Li would have failed. Yu Huashen had been paying attention to this. He was ready to cooperate with Lu Li as soon as he rushed out. As soon as Lu Li shouted, he shot out a huge dragon of fire towards Lu Renxiong from another direction. A pincer attack. Lu Renxiong was shocked, but he made up his mind in an instant. He put on a ferocious expression. His other hand glowed as he smashed at Lu Li. At the same time, his bead of life began to spin, trying to smash Lu Li into pieces. A life for a life. Since Lu Renxiong could become an overlord and the leader of a group of bandits, he had the nature of a bandit. Lu Li wanted to kill him, so he decided to die with Lu Li. He wanted to see if Lu Li had the guts to do so. Lu Li was very brave. He was not a pampered young master. He had been through many bloody battles, and he was never afraid of death. Since Lu Renxiong wanted to fight, then so be it. "Little White," Lu Li shouted. He waved his left hand, and Little White dashed towards Lu Renxiong's fist in a blur. What is that? The distance was too close, and Whitey was very fast. In an instant, it was in front of Lu Renxiong's fist. Little White dodged Lu Renxiong's fist easily. It flew to Lu Renxiong's arm and bit his wrist. Once, Little White could gnaw a man's calf to the bone in the time for one breath. It could do the same now. Little White had eaten a lot of soul crystals during this period of time. It did not grow in size, but its speed was much faster. Lu Renxiong screamed in pain. Due to the pain in his soul, he lost control of his bead of life. Out of instinct, he waved his arm, trying to throw Little White away. Whoosh! Little White was indeed thrown away, but Lu Li's silver claw had arrived, reaching for Lu Renxiong's chest. The inner armor under Lu Renxiong's robe exploded. The silver claw pierced in and crushed Lu Renxiong's heart. Lu Li didn't stop there. After all, the backlash from a warrior at the peak of the Noble Lord Realm was horrifying. His claw was so sharp that it crushed Lu Renxiong's neck easily. His head flew away. Boom! Lu Li moved his claw again. Lu Renxiong's body was torn apart. Blood splashed everywhere, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. At this moment, it was as if time had stopped. Many people stared at Lu Li in astonishment, at his bloody claw and his glowing eyes, as if they were looking at a demon. A warrior at the peak of the Noble Lord Realm was killed in an instant. The leader they thought was invincible was killed by a warrior at the Fate Wheel Realm in one move. This made them feel absurd, shocked, and terrified. Was this toy boy a human sovereign realm warrior? Was he faking his realm? His Fate Wheel was fake as well. Just a piece of treasure? How else could his Fate Wheel be so fast? Lu Li grabbed one of Lu Renxiong's broken hands with his other hand and pulled out the interspatial ring from his hand slowly. Looking at the many pairs of passionate eyes, Lu Li threw the interspatial ring into the distance and shouted coldly, "I am a reasonable man. When I kill someone, I will only kill the ringleader. In this ring should be all the wealth of your legion. Go and divide it among yourselves. Now get lost. If you dare to come any closer, I will kill you." Several Noble Lord Realm warriors were enraged. After Lu Li finished his words, the 5 Noble Lord Realm warriors dashed away at the same time. The rest of the Eternal Realm and Fate Wheel Realm warriors followed suit after seeing that their leaders had fled. "Young master, what are you doing?" Yu Huashan flew over with a frown. There must be a lot of wealth in the ring of a pirate legion leader. Since Lu Li had killed Lu Renxiong, why didn't he continue? Why did he throw the ring away? Let's go back. Lu Li flew down and picked up Little White. He controlled the Fate Wheel to fly back to the iron-armored ship. Ming Yu drove the ship away at once. Lu Li washed off the blood on his hands and put on some clean clothes. Then he explained, "My aunt is trying to reach the Noble Lord realm. I don't want to push her too hard. Once these pirates are pushed too hard, they will fight to the death. Even if there are tens of billions of Shin crystals in a pirate legion, as long as we can get back to the northern desert safely, we will have enough." Yu Huashan agreed. After all, there were 5 more Noble Lord realm warriors. Lu Li might be able to kill 1 or 2 of them, but what if he was killed by accident? What if someone attacked the iron-armored ship? Lu Li's action of throwing out a ring successfully aroused the greed of the other pirate leaders. Of course, Lu Li's ferocity had shocked them as well. Who would dare to court death? Chapter 385. The pirates didn't come after them. The next few days were peaceful. Lu Li asked Ming Yu and Yu Huashan to steer the iron-armored ship closer to the shore. They were almost flying close to the shore. This might expose their whereabouts, but it was safer. Lu Li didn't care about their whereabouts. If the Lu family wanted to hunt them down, they would go to the northern desert sooner or later. Hiding was pointless. 2 days later, the door of the cabin was opened. Lu Li sat by the door and looked in at once. Lu Feishue was glowing. His eyes glowed as he shouted, "Aunt, you made the breakthrough?" "Yes." Lu Feishue's eyes were filled with smiles. She was beautiful. Her smile made Ming Yu and Yu Huashan dazed. She said, "You have all the mystical materials and you have the rising dragon grass. I am talented, so I am lucky to have made the breakthrough." "Congratulations, Aunt." Lu Li stood up, grabbed Lu Feishue's hands and said, "Aunt, you have the King Kong bloodline. I don't think Noble Lord Realm warriors can hurt you now, right?" "More or less." Lu Feishue nodded and said, "My mystic armor is at the 6th level. Only warriors at the peak of the Noble Lord Realm with powerful, profound meaning can break my mystic armor. Almost all disciples of the immediate Lu family could awaken the King Kong bloodline." Lu Feishue's mystic armor was at the 6th level. Naturally, it was strong. Lu Li was reassured. At least, nobody could hurt Lu Feishue unless they ran into human sovereign realm warriors. "I have just made the breakthrough, and my realm is not stable yet. I need to cultivate for a while." Lu Feishue didn't say much. She patted Lu Li's shoulder and said, "You don't have to protect me. Thank you for your hard work." "Not at all." Lu Li grinned and watched Lu Feishue go back. He stood outside the cabin for a while and then went back to his own cabin. Finally, he could have a good sleep after so many days. Since Lu Li and the others were flying along the coast, they didn't run into any more bandits along the way. But they did run into iron-armored ships. Those iron-armored ships belonged to forces of various sizes. Lu Li and the others avoided them without any conflicts. Lu Li had been in closed-door cultivation, and so Ming Yu and the others took turns. Lu Feishue never came out. She had just broken through, and she urgently needed to stabilize her cultivation level and understand the power of her heavenly jewels. A month and a half had passed, and no one knew how far they had traveled. According to the map and the scouting they had done along the way, they should be able to reach Floating Cloud City in about 10 days. Lu Li had finished cultivating. After cultivating for such a long time, his spirit sea was full of dark energy and his soul pond was bigger. There was no more blood essence in his body. All of it had been absorbed. "Fly slower," Lu Li told Yu Huashan and then released his fate wheel. He flew forward in a blur. Ming Yu walked out and looked at Yu Huashan. Both of them were shocked. They had noticed the problem with Lu Li's fate wheel long ago. The fate wheel was too fast, almost as fast as a 3rd or 4th layered fate wheel. Swish. Lu Li controlled the fate wheel to fly around for a few times. He even glided the fate wheel in a weird way in the air for an hour before he came back with satisfaction. Seeing the silver dragon pattern on Lu Li's fate wheel, Mingyu and Yu Huashan were worried. Did Lu Li's fate wheel mutate? Could he make more fate wheels? Could he merge the fate wheels together? Seeing that Lu Li was in a good mood, the two didn't say much. Lu Li noticed an island in the distance. He said, "We have been flying for a long time. How about we go down and take a rest and have some hot food?" Okay. Mingyu and Yu Huashan had been living on the ship for more than a month, and they had been eating nothing but dried food. Lu Li knocked on the door and woke Lu Feishui up. She was in a good mood as well. The four of them flew down to an uninhabited island and put away the iron-armored ship. Yu Huashan and Mingyu split up. One of them collected firewood and the other caught beasts. Lu Li cooked in person. He cut open the belly of a deer and some fish that Yu Huashan caught and started to grill the meat and fish. Lu Feishui flew away by herself. She found a corner to clean herself up. When she came back after changing into a robe, Lu Li's grilled meat and fish were almost ready. It was almost dusk after they had a good meal. However, there was no beautiful scenery. Instead, it was cloudy. It looked like it was going to rain. Lu Li and the others didn't mind if it rained or not. They just had to get back on the ship later and continue on their way. They had just finished their meal. The four of them sat on the grass to rest. The wind was getting stronger. Their robes were fluttering and their hair was dancing. Lu Feishui frowned. She got up and was about to tell Lu Li to hurry on. Tornado! Mingyu suddenly looked to the east and exclaimed. Everyone followed his gaze and saw a huge tornado wreaking havoc on the horizon. The seawater nearby was stirred up as well. The waves were hitting the sky. There are people over there. Yu Huashan had sharp eyes. He saw several small boats in the distance. They were swaying in the raging sea and could capsize at any time. Go and save them. Lu Li didn't think too much. He waved his hand, and Mingyu took out the iron-armored ship. They flew on. Those small boats were clearly regular fishing boats. The people on the boats must be fishermen out at sea. In a tornado like this, the boats might be destroyed and the people on board would die. Natural and man-made disasters were everywhere. Naturally, they couldn't just stand by and do nothing. They flew over on the iron-armored ship. There were more than 20 fishermen on the boats. Lu Li stood on the deck. He waved his hand, and Mingyu flew down. Lu Li himself didn't mind. After all, this was not a big deal. He squinted at the huge tornado in the distance and was shocked. The tornado was tens of thousands of feet high and had a radius of more than 1,000 feet. The seawater under the tornado was swirling and the waves were thousands of feet high. If the fishermen were involved, they would all be smashed into pieces. This is the power of heaven and earth. The wind was howling and the waves were hitting the sky. The tornado was raging. The reefs nearby were lifted up into the sky and then turned into dust. Lu Li's heart skipped a beat as he watched on. His eyes became blurry and he was in a trance. Mingyu flew down quickly and then back up again. Every time, he could bring several people with him. In just a moment, more than dozens of fishermen were saved. The fishermen were terrified. They were relieved after they boarded the iron-armored ship. They all knelt on the ground and kowtowed to thank Mingyu. Mingyu didn't say anything. He asked the fishermen to sit on the deck while Yu Huashan flew the iron-armored ship toward the land. Lu Feishui and Lu Feishui went back to their cabins. Mingyu saw Lu Li standing on the deck quietly by himself. Mingyu walked over with a frown, only to see that Lu Li seemed to be thinking about something. Mingyu didn't dare to interrupt Lu Li's thoughts. He just stood there quietly. The iron-armored ship flew away quickly, but Lu Li didn't notice. He was still standing there like a fool. It was not far from the land. In the time for several incense sticks to burn, they arrived. Mingyu and the others flew down one by one and went back to Lu Li after they were all gone. Boom! Right at that moment, there was a clap of thunder in the sky. A streak of white dragon-like thunderbolt pierced through the night sky and into the sea. Lu Li was woken up by the explosion. He opened his eyes in a daze and looked into the distance at once. He didn't see the tornado. Chapter 386. Enlightenment? Yu Huashen was confused. What could Lu Li learn from the tornado? Mingyu, on the other hand, was deep in thought. Just now, Lu Li's eyes were misty. Clearly, he was touched. Mingyu didn't know what Lu Li had learned, but as long as he did, it would be good news. Mingyu winked at Yu Huashen. The iron-armored ship went back the way it came and moved closer to the tornado. Soon, they arrived at the sea. Raindrops were falling down slowly. The rain was getting heavier. Yu Huashen was about to open the shield, but Lu Li waved his hand. Yu Huashen and Mingyu didn't dare to take any action. The wind was raging and the rain was pouring down. Thunder rumbled and lightning flashed in the sky, tearing apart the night sky like ferocious white snakes. In the distance, there was a tornado in the shape of a black dragon rolling up the seawater. The tornado was moving from side to side, stirring up the wind and clouds. The rain was getting heavier. Lu Li was soaked, but he didn't notice it. He stared at the tornado for a while and shouted, "Closer!" What Yu Huashen frowned. The tornado was fierce. If they were sucked in, they would be torn apart by the strong force. They should be able to get out. Lu Li was not powerful enough. Once he was sucked in, the consequences would be unimaginable. Seeing that Yu Huashen didn't move, Lu Li looked at him coldly and shouted, "Yu Huashen, from now on, if you have any doubts about my orders, get the hell out. I don't need you to follow me." Yes. Yu Huashen's heart skipped a beat under Lu Li's stare. He didn't waste any more words and controlled the iron-armored ship to move closer. Bang, 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 boom, boom, boom. The rain hit the iron-armored ship, creating a clear sound. The waves hit the sky and then smashed back down, creating a loud noise. 30 miles, 25 miles, 15 miles. As they got closer and closer to the tornado, the wind grew stronger and stronger. Everyone's bodies swayed slightly. Yu Huashen slowed down the ship. Since Lu Li didn't order him to stop, he had to move forward. Buzzing, suddenly, Lu Li's abdomen glowed as a silver fate wheel appeared. He jumped up and flew away with the fate wheel. "Young master!" Yu Huashen shouted in surprise, but Mingyu stopped him. Looking at Lu Li, who was flying in the storm, Mingyu said, "Don't disturb him. He might have only scratched the surface of a profound meaning. Young master won't be so stupid as to approach the center of the tornado. You stay here and watch. I'll go take a look." Superficial, profound meaning? Yu Huashen was shocked. If he could learn a little bit of the profound meaning, he would be able to master it. Profound meaning was the most powerful force in heaven and earth. How could Lu Li learn it when he was only at the fate wheel realm? Whoosh! Lu Li controlled his fate wheel to move forward in the storm. He was fast, but he was not stupid enough to get close to the tornado. He circled around the tornado and stayed 20 to 30 miles away from it. That way he would be fine. Boom, 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 up in the sky. Thunder roared and lightning flashed. Lu Li's figure flickered. He flew in the storm like a seagull. He was flying at the top of his speed. On the silver fate, well under his feet, there was a dragon swimming around, which was quite strange. Mingyu followed Lu Li quietly and kept a distance of more than 300 feet so as not to disturb him. 1 hour, 2 hours, 6 hours. Lu Li was still flying around the tornado as if he would never be tired. The storm was still raging and the waves were getting stronger. 8 hours, 12 hours. The sky was bright. The tornado had dispersed, and the storm had gradually stopped. Lu Li had been flying for an entire night, and he was soaked. He frowned and controlled his fate wheel to hover in midair. In the depth of his eyes, he was upset. After a while, he shook his head. He used Xian energy to evaporate the water and flew back to the iron-armored ship with a gloomy face. Mingyu followed Lu Li in silence. He was not a talkative person. Judging from Lu Li's expression, he had guessed something. As soon as Lu Li came back, Yu Huashen asked with concern, "Young master, how is it? Did you learn anything?" "Yes." Lu Li sighed and said, "Too bad it was destroyed by that thunderbolt. Otherwise, I might be able to learn something from the tornado. I don't know what it is exactly, but it must be something. What a shame." Yu Huashen sighed, but he didn't know how to comfort Lu Li. Mingyu said, "Young master, don't be discouraged. You could try again next time." Learning profound meaning is not something that can be learned in a short time. There's a place at the Thousand Island Lake where tornadoes often appear. You can go and have a look later. Okay. Lee's eyes glowed. If he couldn't do it once, he could try several times. He would have a chance to find that feeling again. As long as he could find the right feeling, he would be able to learn something from it sooner or later. I will go and see if I can learn something. Lee went back to his cabin after some thoughts. He asked Mingyu and Yu Huashan to walk the rest of the way. He wanted to see if he could recall something. Lee went back to closed-door cultivation. The iron-armored ship flew toward the flowing cloud city. The rest of the journey was peaceful. Nothing happened. They arrived at the flowing clouds region in 10 days. Mingyu woke up Lu Li and Lu Feishue after they confirmed the location of a small city. Lu Li looked at the small city and the map. He nodded and said, "We are at the flowing clouds region. Get ready. Let's get off the ship and enter the city." Mingyu and Yu Huashan took out their illusions masks to disguise themselves. Lu Li put on the illusions mask as well. Unfortunately, there were only 3 masks. Lu Li asked Lu Feishue to put on the ghost mask, and he would buy another one for her later. They packed up one person and got off the ship quietly. They put away the iron-armored ship and entered the city. This was a small county with no powerful warriors. Nobody dared to stop them since they were so well-mannered. They handed over the Xian crystals and teleported away. This time, they were teleported to a prefectural city. Lu Li asked Yu Huashan to buy an illusions mask when they arrived. They found a large chamber of commerce and bought one easily. Teleportation continued. Lu Li had reached the Fate Wheel realm. His soul pond was several times larger, and his soul was much stronger. He didn't feel dizzy or nauseous like before. The speed of teleportation was fast. They didn't stop for long. They went to the next teleportation formation and teleported to the northern central plains as fast as they could. Teleportation also took time, especially when it came to teleporting from one region city to another. The distance was very far, and it would take at least an hour to teleport from one region city to another. Lu Feishue and the other 2 were at the Noble Lord realm with strong souls. They could teleport for days and nights at a time. Lu Li couldn't stand it anymore. He felt dizzy after teleporting for 2 days and 1 night. They found a tavern and rested for a couple of hours. When they woke up, they would teleport again. Great Patriarch gave Lu Li tens of billions of Xian crystals. Lu Li didn't mind spending it. Money was useless. He could earn it back after he spent it. Lu Li and Lu Feishue were disciples of the royal family. If they had teleportation tokens of the royal family, the teleportation fee would be low. It was a pity that Lu Li wasn't given one and Lu Feishue didn't have one even though she was married. In just 7 or 8 days, they had arrived at the northern central plains. In another 4 or 5 days, they would arrive at the Cloud City. Finally, we're going back to the northern desert. Chapter 387. Young Master, do you want to go to the Du family? When they were resting in a city, Yu Huashan suddenly asked, "If you want to unify the northern desert, you must destroy the 3 kingdoms. What if the Du family of the Heaven Frigid Kingdom has something to do with the Du family of the Central Plains?" Lu Li and Mingyu frowned. Du Zheng said it was okay, but if they did, they would anger the Du family if they acted rashly. But when Lu Li went to the wicked sorcery mountain, the Du family thought he was dead. What would the Du family think now that he had come out? The Du family sucked up to him because he was a disciple of the Lu family. Now that he was exiled by the Lu family, how would the Du family treat him if they knew the truth? No! Lu Li shook his head and said, "Let's go back to the northern desert first. I will talk to Du Zheng." Okay. Yu Huashan nodded. They rested for a bit and then continued teleporting. They had been low-key and they didn't go to any region cities. Instead, they teleported from one prefecture city to another. They took a detour and didn't go to the territory of the Qin family. It would be more troublesome, but it was safer and low-key. 2 days later, they arrived at the territory of the Du family. One more day to the north, and they would arrive at the Cloud City. Then they could teleport to the northern desert. Let's take a rest. Luli couldn't stand it anymore. He didn't sleep well during this time. He only rested for a couple of hours. There was only one more day to go. He decided to have a good sleep and then teleport back to the northern desert. Yu Huashin found a tavern and booked a castle in the backyard. He planned to rest for the night. Luli went to sleep as soon as he got back to his room. He wanted to sleep until the next day. However, in the middle of the night, there was a knock on his door. Luli sat up and opened the door in a daze. Soon, his eyes lit up. There was a man with Yu Huashin. It was Patriarch Du Zheng, Du Zheng's cousin. Du Ran was still the same. He had white hair and beard. He smiled bitterly, cupped his fists, and said, "Young Master Lu, you have kept me in the dark." Since the Du family had come, Luli couldn't turn them away. Also, Du Ran had been nice to him. He invited Du Ran in and asked Yu Huashin to serve tea before he asked, "Patriarch Du, how do you know we are here? This is our Du family's territory." Du Ran forced a smile and said, "No matter how you three disguise yourselves, our men can still see through it. I'm in charge of intelligence. As soon as I received the news, I deduced that it was you guys." Du Zheng paused and asked curiously, "Young Master Lu, I heard from the Pavilion of Delicacy that you took a large iron-armored ship and crashed into the Gargoyle Mountain. Did you go back to the Lu family?" Luli was sure that Du Zheng did not know about the Lu family. However, it was normal for the Lu family to seal off the city and not be able to get any news from the outside world. He pondered for a moment and said, "I didn't go back to the Lu clan. I heard that the Lu clan has sealed the city and no one is allowed to enter. So I'm going back to the northern desert. I have something to deal with there." Back to the northern desert? Du Ran was confused. Luli was Lu Renhuang's son and Lu Jingyang's grandson. Why didn't he go back to the Lu family? Why did he go to the tiny northern desert? Seeing that Lu Li was hiding something, Du Ran didn't say much. He nodded and said, "Young Master Lu, you are blessed to be able to come out from the wicked sorcery mountain. The Lu family will not be sealed off forever. Young Master Lu, you are talented to be able to reach the Fate Wheel realm in such a short time. When you grow stronger, you will become a mainstay of the Lu family." Luli sneered inside, but he didn't show it. He thought about it and asked, "Patriarch Du, I want to know if Du Heng, the king of the Heaven Frigid Kingdom of the Northern Desert, has anything to do with the Du family." "Du Heng?" Du Ran frowned and asked, "No, he is not. He is not a disciple of the Du family." "Why do you ask?" "Oh, then it's okay." Luli was relieved. He grinned and said, "I will stay at the Northern Desert for some time to cultivate. I hope the Du family can take care of me in the future." "Young Master Lu, you are welcome." Du Ran said with guilt, "I am to blame for what happened last time. Young Master Lu, we are grateful that you don't blame us." The rest of the conversation was boring. Du Ran and Lu Li just flattered each other. Du Ran wanted to get some information, but Lu Li was tight-lipped, so he didn't get anything out of him. They chatted for an hour. Du Ran asked Lu Li to be a guest at the dance city again, but Lu Li turned him down. Du Ran said goodbye and went back. Lu Li asked Du Ran to hide the news for him. Du Ran nodded and left. Lu Li didn't dare to stay any longer. He teleported with Lu Feishue and the other three overnight. They finally arrived at the Cloud City at noon the next day. "Young Master, do you want to take a rest?" Yu Huashin asked with concern after they arrived at the Cloud City, noticing that Lu Li looked pale. Lu Li shook his head. The Cloud City was the territory of the Palace of Peaceful Heavens. Last time, he almost made trouble here. How could he stay? Whoosh, right at that moment, a middle-aged warrior rushed over. Lu Li glanced over and was surprised. He knew this man. It was Jiang Hong from the Jiang family. Jiang Hong had recognized Lu Li, and he came to him directly. He stopped in front of Lu Li, cupped his fists, and said, "Young Master, our young lady wants to see you." After saying that, Jiang Hong pointed at one of the lofts. The window opened silently, revealing a beautiful face. In her hand was a glass of blood-red wine. Bloody Rose, Jiang Qiling. Lu Li was confused. It was okay that Du Ran found out, but how did Jiang Qiling get the news so soon? Was it Du Ran who informed her? The window was closed soon. Nothing happened in the city. Lu Li thought about it and said, "Show me the way." Jiang Hong led Lu Li and the other three to a tavern. Lu Li thought about it and said, "Find a place to rest. I am going to see an old friend." Lu Feishue was curious, but she didn't ask. Yu Huashan and Yu Huashan smiled. Lu Li followed Jiang Hong into an elegant room. Pushing the door open, Lu Li smelled a familiar smell of wine. It was one of the strongest liquors in the world, Bloody Rose. He looked inside and saw a familiar figure. She was wearing a revealing red dress. Her skin was snow white, her lips were red like flames, and her eyes were bewitching. This woman was still so seductive. She was holding a goblet of Bloody Rose, leaning against the bed and looking at Lu Li with a smile. Jiang Hong left, but Lu Li was afraid to come in. After all, this was a guest room, not a living room. Lu Li, long time no see. You have reached the Fate Wheel realm. Jiang Qiling smiled. Lu Li tried to sense her energy out of instinct. He was taken aback by what he sensed. Jiang Qiling had reached the Eternal Realm. She seemed to be at the peak of the Eternal Realm. He remembered clearly that the last time he saw her, she was only at the later stage of the Fate Wheel realm. How long had it been? Half a year at most. How could she cultivate so fast? Warriors at the later stage of the Fate Wheel realm had 3 Fate Wheels, and warriors at the peak of the Eternal Realm had 9. In other words, Jiang Qiling had made 6 Fate Wheels in half a year. Lu Li didn't know this before. Now that he had a Fate Wheel, he knew very well that it would be harder to make more Fate Wheels. Even with endless mystical materials, it was not easy to make a breakthrough quickly. Ha ha! Chapter 388. Jiang Qiling's grandpa died at the Gargoyle Mountain. In order to provoke her, Lu Li made a bet with her. Lu Li stated 2 conditions. If Jiang Qiling could make her father kneel in front of her lover's grave and people of the Central Plains worship her grandpa, Lu Li would kowtow to her and wash her feet. Lu Li didn't think it was possible. At least, the first condition was hard for Jiang Qiling to achieve. What was the Jiang family patriarch? What was his abilities? If Jiang Qiling wanted to achieve the first condition, she must be more powerful than her father. She must be at least at the Earth Immortal Realm. Was it so easy to reach the Earth Immortal Realm? As far as Lu Li knew, there were only 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors in the Lu family. Lu Zhengyang was badly injured and would not wake up again. The Lu family had countless disciples and endless resources. It was hard for the Lu family to have an Earth Immortal Realm warrior. How could Jiang Qiling do it so easily? That being said, at that moment, Lu Li had a feeling that Jiang Qiling could really do it. She could even surpass her father and become the leader of the Pavilion of Delicacy. Because this woman was too crazy. She could not survive without being crazy. When a person was crazy about something, her achievements would be horrifying. Jiang Qiling must be crazy. Her life was meaningless. The only thing that kept her going was the bet with Lu Li. Jiang Qiling must be talented. The Jiang family had endless resources. If she could reach the peak of the Eternal Realm in half a year, she could reach the human sovereign realm in a couple of years. Lu Li was taken aback. Disciples of the 12 royal families were not to be underestimated. Jiang Qiling had the 8th rank bloodline, Soul Feast Butterfly. If she could keep this up, she would have a place on the list of Warlord of the Central Plains. After the time for more than a dozen breaths, Lu Li came back to his senses. He walked into the room, but didn't close the door. He walked to a square table, poured a goblet of Bloody Rose, and drank it up. Then he exclaimed, "Lady Qi, there is a saying that I didn't understand before. Now I have a deeper understanding of it. It is called, a scholar who has been away for 3 days will be looked at with new eyes." Ha, ha, ha. Jiang Qiling laughed a beautiful smile. She trembled and her cheeks blushed. She said with pride, "You are here early. In another 2 months, I will reach the Noble Lord realm." Amazing! Lu Li exclaimed with sincerity. "Lady Qi, you are the most talented person I have ever seen. Maybe one day, I really will kowtow to you and wash your feet." "Definitely." Jiang Qiling put on a serious expression and said, "Lu Li, don't regret it when the time comes." Ha ha ha. Lu Li laughed out loud and said, Lu Li, am a man of indomitable spirit. If I am willing to bet, I am willing to admit defeat. Of course, I will not deny it. Jiang Qiling nodded and asked, Lu Li, didn't you go back to the Lu family? Why are you here? I did not know until I came back to the Pavilion of Delicacy that you were the son of the famous Lu Renhuang. Sorry for not recognizing you. Lu Li squinted at her and asked, Did Duran tell you? Did Duran inform you that you were here? Hee hee. Jiang Qiling combed her hair and said, You have underestimated the Pavilion of Delicacy. As a matter of fact, I have been informed about what happened to you in the city of Mystic Armor. I know that you were exiled to the Omen Island and you were rescued halfway. You came from the northern desert, and I thought you would go back to the northern desert. Therefore, I have been living here for half a month just to wait for you. The 12 royal families were powerful. Lu Li exclaimed again. There must be many spies of the Pavilion of Delicacy in the city of Mystic Armor. But it was understandable. The 12 royal families were the most powerful forces in the world. Their spies should be all over the Central Plains. Their tentacles covered the entire Central Prefecture, which was why they had absolute control over the entire Central Prefecture. Lu Li remembered the more than a dozen patriarchs of the external clan of the Lu family and the hundreds of deacons. When Lu Zhongtan came back, he summoned more than 100 deacons. Some of them must be in charge of intelligence. Lady Qi, I am sorry. Lu Li didn't dare to talk about the fact that Jiang Qiling knew he was exiled from the Lu family. After all, this was a dirty secret of the Lu family. Jiang Qiling put on a solemn expression and said with sincerity, Lu Li, to tell you the truth, the Lu family has sent out an internal notice. You and your aunt are no longer disciples of the Lu family. Have you ever thought about joining other forces? If you want to join the Pavilion of Delicacy, I can make arrangements for you to become an elite disciple. The family will provide you with all the resources. As long as you can reach the noble lord realm, I will get you a patriarch of the external clan. You don't have to worry about anyone's feelings at the Pavilion of Delicacy. I will take care of you. No longer a disciple of the Lu family, Lu Li's expressions darkened. He didn't care for this identity, and he didn't have any emotional attachment to the Lu family. That being said, he still had the blood of the Lu family in him. He was exiled from the Lu family, and he could not be buried in the ancestral temple after his death. He would become a lonely ghost. Jiang Qiling calmed down after seeing Lu Li's expressions. She said after a pause, Lu Li, don't be sad. Now that you are at the Pavilion of Delicacy, the Jiang family is your home. As long as I am alive, I will kill anyone who dares to bully you. Lu Li forced a smile, shook his head, and said, Lady Qi, I have told you before that I don't like to live off a woman, and I don't like to live under someone else's roof. If the Lu family doesn't want me, I will build a Lu family of my own. When my family is stronger than the Lu family, I will be the rightful heir. Ha ha. Jiang Qiling pressed her lips together. She already knew the answer, but she still asked, unwilling to give up. That being said, if Lu Li were to join the Pavilion of Delicacy, he would not be the Lu Li she knew. Lu Li thought about it. Soon, he forgot about the fact that he was exiled from the Lu family. Even Lu Zhongtan wanted to kill him. Lu Li didn't think it was a big deal. After a while, he looked up and said, Lady Qi, can you do me a favor? Jiang Qiling was surprised. Theoretically speaking, Lu Li was not a man who would ask for help. She grinned and said, Tell me, what is it? Lu Li said seriously, I want to ask you to seal off the north of the Central Plains. I don't want anyone from the Central Plains to go to the northern desert, not for at least 10 years. I need time. Jiang Qiling was smart. She figured something out at once. She thought about it and said, Lu Li, instead of going to the northern desert, you might as well find a place at the Central Plains like the north of the Central Plains. You can fight for a prefectural city first, and then a region city. Even a region of the Central Plains has much more resources than the northern desert. The northern desert is a barren place. What is there to miss? No. Lu Li knew that as long as he asked, Jiang Qiling would help him get a region. But this was too much. Also, the Pavilion of Delicacy would not agree. Nobody could tell what would happen then. All right. Jiang Qiling nodded and said, I will try my best to help you. But if someone from the Lu family wants to go, I cannot stop them. I will have to inform you in advance." Lu Li looked at her gratefully and said, "Thank you." Jiang Qiling squinted her eyes. Suddenly, she moved closer to Lu Li and said in a sneaky tone, "You said that nobody is allowed to go to the northern desert. That doesn't include me, right?" "You." Lu Li was speechless. She was a devil in disguise. If she went to the northern desert, there would be chaos. Lu Li touched his nose and said, "Lady Qi, don't you need to cultivate? I want to kneel down and wash your feet." "Huh, huh." Jiang Qiling tilted her head and said with a grin, "Cultivation must be done in moderation. Otherwise, you will be possessed by the devil. I just want to go there to relax. Can't I do that? If not, then I will have to think about what you just said." "All right." Lu Li was troubled. He didn't know what to do with this little devil. He thought about it and said, "You can go there and have some fun. But if you make trouble, you know how I am." "Deal, ha ha." Chapter 389. The Heaven Frigid City had been very quiet recently because Du Hong was in closed-door training. Ever since he came back from the Heaven Prison City, Du Hong had been in closed-door training, preparing to break through to the Renhuang Plain. The spirit materials were almost ready. Du Hong hadn't tried to break through before because he wasn't confident. These spirit materials had cost the Du family several years of savings. If the breakthrough failed, it would be destroyed. At the Heaven Prison City, Du Zheng betrayed them and took Lu Li's side, which made Du Hong feel threatened. He didn't know that Lu Li would leave the northern desert soon. He thought that Lu Li would unify the northern desert sooner or later, so he was ready to risk his life. If he could break through to the human sovereign realm, he would be able to unify the northern desert and become an emperor. Du Hong was in seclusion, and the Heaven Frigid City was under martial law. Anyone in the city who dared to make trouble and anger the Du family would be killed immediately. Du Hong had been in closed-door cultivation for a long time. At first, he was ready to reach the human sovereign realm. But when he learned that Lu Li had left, he dared not to. However, he did not come out of seclusion. He continued to cultivate, preparing to break through to the Renhuang Plain in one go. Therefore, the Heaven Frigid City had been under martial law recently. Early in the morning, a huge teleportation formation in the square of the Heaven Frigid City lit up, which startled countless people. The commander guarding the teleportation formation immediately went to inform the elders of the Du family. This was because the teleportation formation was connected to the middle state in the White Cloud City. Someone from the Central Plains had come. White Cloud City was the territory of the Palace of Peaceful Heavens. If he wanted to teleport from White Cloud City, he would have to pay 100 million Xian crystals. People from the Central Plains would not be teleported to the northern desert for no reason. In the eyes of the Central Plains people, the northern desert was a countryside, a barren land. Those who could be teleported to the northern desert were all big shots. Of course, nobody thought of Lu Li because it was not a secret among the big families that Lu Li was the son of Lu Renhuang. Lu Li must have gone back to the Lu family of the Central Plains. Why would he come back? Several elders of the Du family came out, and so did the first young master of the Du family, Du Xiling. All of them respectfully stood outside the transmission formation, waiting for the important figures of the Central Plains. It would take a long time to teleport from the Central Plains, at least 2 hours. No one was in a hurry, so they waited quietly. The teleportation array kept flashing. After waiting for a full hour, the light from the teleportation array gradually weakened, and 4 figures appeared in the teleportation array. Du Xiling and the others took a few glances at them and found that they were strangers. Moreover, they couldn't sense their realms at all. Du Xiling hurriedly led his people and bowed, saying, "Greetings, my lords. Greetings, my lords." The soldiers in the city knelt down one after another. These 4 people had extraordinary bearings, and their cultivation levels could not be detected. Moreover, they came from the Central Plains, so they were definitely people from great clans. The 4 of them walked out and stood outside the teleportation formation. A young man suddenly shouted, Yu Huashen, destroy the teleportation formation. Of course, the four were Lu Li and the others. They were all wearing illusions masks, so Du Xiling and the others could not see through them. Yu Huashen was surprised to hear the order. It was not easy to build the teleportation formation, and it cost a lot. Destroying it would mean destroying billions of Xian crystals. Lu Li threw him a cold glance. Yu Huashen made up his mind and poured out Xian energy. The teleportation formation behind him exploded and was destroyed. Du Xiling and the others were dumbfounded. Who were these people? Why did they destroy their teleportation formation the moment they arrived? Although the transmission array was not built by the Du family, but by a large family in the past, destroying the transmission array was a big taboo. Yu Huashen? Du Xiling remembered what Lu Li said. He stared at Lu Li, and the more he looked at him, the more he looked like Lu Li. Apart from the fact that he was taller, his temperament and appearance were similar to Lu Li's. Lu Li saw people staring at him. He smiled gently and took off the illusion's mask. He said, Du Xiling, how long has it been? Don't you recognize me? Lu Li. Everyone's expressions changed, as if they were facing a formidable enemy. The devil Lu Li had come back and destroyed the teleportation formation as soon as he arrived. No one in the Du family would believe that Lu Li was here as a guest. Du Xiling crushed a jade talisman at once, a warning jade talisman. Du Heng would know something was wrong as soon as he crushed it. Whoosh, 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 many powerful warriors flew out from the Imperial City, but most of them were at the Fate Wheel realm and the Eternal realm. The Du family was only a 5th-rank royal family, with only 2 warriors at the Noble Lord realm. One was Du Heng, and the other was the state counselor of the Heaven Frigid Kingdom. What is going on? A thunderous roar came from within the palace, and 2 figures flew out. The 2 men were so powerful that the civilians in the city were frightened. They were Du Heng and the state counselor of the Heaven Frigid Kingdom, who were in closed-door cultivation. Lu Li. Du Heng's expressions changed when he saw Lu Li. He flew down with the state counselor and stood in front of Du Xiling. He looked at Lu Li coldly and said, Lu Li, what is the meaning of this? Why did you destroy the teleportation formation? Nothing. Lu Li shrugged his shoulders and said, just leave 1 teleportation formation to the Central Plains. The other 2 must be destroyed. Du Heng was fuming with anger. He said coldly, you want me to destroy them? Do you really think you are the king of the Northern Desert? You are right. Lu Li smiled lightly. He glanced over to the warriors and said coldly, from today on, I, Lu Li, am the king of the Northern Desert. Anyone who disobeys will be killed without mercy. Du Heng, I will give you a chance. Surrender to me or die. That was right. As soon as Lu Li came back, he was ready to take action, and he chose the Du family to start with. To unify the Northern Desert, words alone were not enough. Someone must die, and blood must be shed. Now, Lu Li had given the Du family a chance. It was up to Du Heng to decide. The Du family had 2 Noble Lord Realm warriors, one at the peak and one at the middle stage. Lu Li, on the other hand, had 3. He had the Blood Claw. As soon as Yu Huashen and Mingyu arrived, they used psychic power to make sure that there were only 2 Noble Lord Realm warriors in the city. Naturally, Lu Li had nothing to fear. The entire plaza was in an uproar. Many people of the Du family came to the plaza, and many affiliated families came to watch. They wanted to see which big shot came from the Central Plains, but it was Lu Li, the devil. That was not the point. The point was that Lu Li said he wanted to unify the Northern Desert and declare war against the Du family. Du Heng was filled with killing intent. Du Xiling and the others stepped back at once. The patriarchs of the Du family were ready to release their fate wheels at any time. Du Heng glanced over to Yu Huashen and Mingyu, and then to Lu Feixue. He thought to himself, Yu Huashen was at the middle stage of the Noble Lord realm, and so was Mingyu at the initial stage. Lu Feixue had clearly just reached the Noble Lord realm. Even though there was one more person on Lu Li's side, he was at the peak of the Noble Lord realm. He could still fight. It was easy to start the war. The problem was how to deal with the aftermath. Lu Li and Du Zheng were close. Last time at the Heaven Prison City, How many noble Lord Realm warriors did Lu Li have? Would there be trouble if Du Zheng killed Lu Li? If it didn't fight, the Heaven Frigid Kingdom would be gone, and the Du family would become an affiliated family of the Lu family. The resources of the Heaven Frigid Kingdom would belong to Lu Li. Soon, the Du family would be wiped out. King of a northern desert, Du Heng suddenly remembered something. He sneered and said, Lu Li, you are a disciple of the Lu family of the Central Plains. The 12 royal families of the Central Plains have an agreement. No family of the Central Plains can interfere with the internal affairs of other plains. Aren't you afraid that the 12 royal families will join hands to destroy you? Ha ha ha. Chapter 390. In fact, Lu Li didn't really need to care about what the others thought. In this world, the one with the most power was the one with the most power. He also asked her for a favor. After they teleported over, the teleportation formation of the Cloud City would be closed temporarily. She would ask the people of the Palace of Peaceful Heavens to capture all the people from the northern desert. Jiang Qiling was the daughter of the Jiang family patriarch. How dare the Palace of Peaceful Heavens disobey her? At the very least, if someone really went to the Central Plains to complain, he and Lu Feishue would have been expelled from the Lu family. They were no longer disciples of the Lu family. Coming here to unify the northern desert was not against the rules. The 12 royal families would not send anyone to suppress them. With Jiang Qiling's help, Lu Li had nothing to worry about. To him, the northern desert was like a small pond. No matter how hard the fish jumped, they could not escape from his control. He announced in public that he wanted to be the king of the northern desert. He wanted the news to spread across the entire northern desert so that all the families would be mentally prepared. Du Zheng once wanted to give the northern desert to Lu Li. Back then, Lu Li thought nothing of it and only wanted to go back to the Lu family. Now that he had his eyes on the man, he had the absolute power and means to suppress the other heroes and become the new emperor of the northern desert. Du Heng was silent again. His heart was incomparably conflicted. He and the Grand State Preceptor looked at each other and communicated with their eyes. Finally, they made a decision in their hearts. He took a few steps forward with the Imperial Preceptor, and a group of elders followed. Du Heng knelt down on one knee and said in a deep voice, Du Heng leads the Du family and is willing to submit to young Master Lu. Before Du Heng finished speaking, the entire city was in an uproar. After Du Heng finished speaking, he bowed his head deeply, as if he had completely surrendered. Buzz! Lu Li was glaring. He generated more than a dozen clones. His sleeves glowed. At the same time, Mingyu's force was released at once. Qi, the bloodline imprint on Du Heng's neck lit up, and a small imprint flew into the air, growing with the wind and turning into a small mountain. The heavenly jewel in Du Heng's lower abdomen flew out and spun around his abdomen, emitting an earthy yellow light. After his power jewel appeared, everyone in the square immediately felt the gravity increase, and many low-level martial artists were suppressed to the ground. Du Heng did not choose to submit, but chose to fight to the death. His gravity-profound meaning was powerful. He was confident that he could defeat Yu Huaxin and Mingyu easily. As long as he could kill the two and Lu Feishue, he could take down Lu Li easily. If he could capture Lu Li, he would have the right to negotiate. Surrendering to Lu Li and then seeing his family being swallowed up bit by bit and eventually destroyed would be worse than killing him. Lu Li and the others had already guessed that Du Heng would not surrender. Therefore, the moment Du Heng knelt down, everyone realized what was going on. Godly armor appeared. The black mark on Lu Feishue's neck glowed. A blue divine armor quickly formed on her body. This was the sign of a rank 6 divine armor. Yu Huaxin and Mingyu cooperated well. They slapped at Lu Feishue's back at the same time. Lu Feishue flew out toward Du Heng. Go! Lu Li felt he was being pressed down by a mountain, and so did all his clones. He was trying to control his clones to run to all sides, but they were slowed down. The 4 of them had come up with a strategy. Lu Feishue would fend off the first round of attacks from Du Hong, and then Lu Li, Ming Yu, and Yu Huashen would work together to kill Du Hong. But the gravity was beyond Lu Li's expectation. He complained to himself. Lu Feishue was pushed out, and she was close to Du Hong. A red sword appeared in her hand. She generated dozens of sword shadows and stabbed at Du Hong. Du Hong was at the peak of the noble lord realm. How fast was his reaction? He took out a saber and cut at Lu Feishue's sword. He was the one who released the gravity, profound meaning, so was not affected. Therefore, his move was as fast as the wind. On the other hand, Lu Feishue's sword was slow. One could see through the trajectory of the attack. Bang! Du Hang's saber landed on Lu Feishue's sword. A surge of strong force came. Lu Feishue lost her grip, and her sword was knocked away. Du Hong swung his saber and cut at Lu Feishue's head. The most powerful attack of Du Hang's was his bloodline skill, which was the stamp. The problem was that everyone here was from the Du family. Du Hong himself was on the ground. If he used the stamp, he would be hurt as well. Go to hell. The state counselor of the Du family made his move. Even though his speed was affected by the gravity, his reaction and speed were clearly faster than Yu Huashen and Ming Yu. He took out a horsetail whisk. He spun around and charged at Yu Huashen, who was rushing out. The fur on the horsetail whisk turned into tens of thousands of steel needles. The needles glowed. They were poisonous. If one was stabbed by the needles, he would be poisoned and die. And Lu Li came from behind. He released his fate wheel, but he could only fly close to the ground. The friction between his fate wheel and the ground created some sparks. Even though he knew Lu Feishue's defense was strong and Du Hang's attack was just average, he was still worried. Apart from her eyes, nose, and mouth, Lu Feishue was covered in a blue mystic armor. She looked like a goddess of war. She didn't feel nervous even when she saw the saber coming. If the mystic armors of the Lu family could be cracked so easily, the Lu family wouldn't be so famous. The gravity on her was horrifying. Lu Feishue knew she could not dodge, so she didn't move. She moved her head a little bit and reached out her hands. Bang! Du Hang's saber landed on Lu Feishue's shoulder. Lu Feishue's body sank. The ground under her feet cracked, and her legs sank into the ground. She didn't feel any pain, and the saber didn't sink into the mystic armor. She reached out her hands to grab the saber. The mystic armor covered her entire body. It was as if she was wearing a pair of blue gloves. She grabbed the saber at once. Du Hong was shocked. His saber was a heaven-grade Qian artifact, and it was extremely sharp. He used all his strength, but he couldn't break the lady's armor. Could it be a holy grade armor? Bloodline skill, mystic armor. Du Hong came to his senses when he remembered the black glare on Lu Feishue's neck and the sudden appearance of the armor. This was the legendary King Kong bloodline of the Lu family and the mystic armor skill. While he was still in a daze, Lu Feishue had grabbed his saber and pulled it behind her. Du Hong, who was already on his way, moved closer to Lu Feishue. Lu Li, Lu Feishue shouted and hugged Du Hong tightly. She had the mystic armor, so Du Hong could not kill her. As long as she could stall Du Hong, Lu Li's blood claw could tear him apart. Swish, Lu Li flew his fate wheel over in a streak of sparks. With a white glare, Lu Li generated more than a dozen clones and dashed toward Du Hong. Piss off! Du Hong was enraged. He swung his other hand at Lu Feishue's abdomen and swung his fist as fast as lightning. Du Hong didn't know why Lu Li was so close to him, but it was not good to be entangled. What was more, Du Hang's psychic power could not detect Lu Li's real body, even though there were more than a dozen of Lu Li's clones. Du Hong had a bad feeling. Bang! Lu Feishue had the mystic armor. Du Hong felt as if he was punching an iron plate. He smashed his head at Lu Feishue's face in anger. Her face was the only thing that wasn't covered by the mystic armor. Her nose was broken and her face was covered in blood. Go to hell. Finally, Lu Li dashed over. His real body appeared on Du Hang's left side. Seeing that Du Hong was about to smash at Lu Feishue's head, Lu Li lost his mind. He reached out his blood claw at Du Hang's hand. P.S. At the beginning of the month, everyone has a guaranteed monthly vote. Let's get some. We don't have to compete for the monthly votes, but we can't be too shabby, right? Our Immortal has over 10,000 readers. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.